Holy crap, looks like we're actually live. Who would have known that we might have actually gone live through Twitch? So, Guido, I'd actually already seen that, but thank you for the link. Hello, Schmeidolf. Hello, Kemek. You should join us, Kemek. You should join us while playing Dragon Age. Hey, Zawan. Hey, Callisto. Hey, OJ. 4K touchscreen laptop. How many thousands of dollars did that set you back? Oh my god. I mean, touchscreen laptops in general tend to be overpriced. And laptops in general tend to be overpriced. You don't have to tell me. I hope you're enjoying it. Hey, Salty. Of course, it just occurred to me I should probably ask what's under the hood before I judge any quality of it. The icebreaker. We're going to do basically the opposite of what we did over in the fjord here. I'm going to go back here this time. I like the idea of Captain Zeal. That just has kind of a ring to it, don't you think? No? Okay, whatever. I haven't changed my name yet to Zeal, but I'll get there someday. Hey, Meadfist. Hey, Lurker. The Lurker. I remember when laptops weren't a thing. That's all I'm going to say about that. So who's ready for some Borean Tundra today? Anybody? Nobody? Okay. That's fine. Hey, Rigel. Hey, Nether. Believe it or not all of Northrend is just snow. I mean, that would be really boring. That'd be like if you went to Skyrim and it was nothing but snow. I mean, ugh, you know. Now, we'll be seeing plenty of varieties of terrain up there. Although I guess that's kind of a lie, because 3 of those terrains are snow and ice. Different types of snow and ice, but snow and ice nonetheless. So, by the way, the name of this ship that we're sailing up to Northrend is called the Kraken. Stop crying, you cowards. Yes, the roof of the world. I admittedly like this port a little bit better than the one on the fjord. In terms of pure aesthetics, I mean. I don't mean I like the Borean Tundra's aesthetics better than the fjord. I mean, I like this port, Valiant's Keep, better than I like Valdegard. This place is interesting. So first of all, it's got a giant statue of Varian, because he's a raging egomaniac. Second of all, you remember how I mentioned that one of the big undercurrents of the Alliance plot thread for like the next several expansions is the fact that the Alliance is desperately undermanned and and has a terrible economy? So they literally have civilian recruits here trying to fill out the forces of the army. So, for example, what's your trade? Miner, sir. Afraid not, friend. Here's your sword and shield. Report to the barracks for duty. And if you sit here, you'll just see more and more of these civilians of primarily human and dwarven ancestry. Both male and female, of course. And they'll just slowly walk up and be like, yep. What did you do before you came to Northrend then? Carpenter, sir. Not anymore. Here's your sword. Report to the barracks for duty. And you get the idea. You could sit here and listen to them for a while, but there's quite a few people who are purely civilians who came up here for the honor of joining the Grunt forces. And you know what's really funny? Pretty much all of these die. I'm being serious about that. That's not me being my usual doom and gloom. These are all the civilian recruits of an understaffed army. And as we've already discussed, basically none of the actual military forces of the Alliance of the Horde make it all the way to Icecrown. They die on the trip up. So while some of these probably did survive, you know, the ones who were left behind to garrison, the rest of these guys, no, they're all dead. They're very dead. And by very dead, I mean undead. Because, yeah. And every now and again, another recruit will come from the ship. And, that really just explains everything I think it needs to. Yeah, also, this is a bug. They didn't used to stand up in here. Now, every once in a blue moon, he'll say, oh, we actually have a line opening for you, so you can actually go and do something other than be a soldier. So here's this statue in tribute to our Lord's jackass, the idiot. Because Varian is such a raging egotist that he needs to have a statue of himself. But seriously, in tribute to Lord Varian, King Varian Rid, known to some as Logosh the Ghost Wolf, his miraculous return from long years of exile and hardship where it has ignited a new fire of spat and carnage within the Alliance. We shall march boldly on these perilous lands, holding his valor and tenacity in our hearts. By the way, if I were king, I'd have a horse like you. I'd make sure you didn't get lost. I'd make sure you never get lost. We'd be best friends. I bet me and Anduin would be best friends too. Friends are important. I'll take you to some other horses. You probably miss being around the other horses. They can be your friends too. But, yeah. Also, just feel like pointing it out, once again, the Alliance town is not fully under construction yet. It's more so than the other ones, but they're still building into this place. Just reiterating the plot thread that I've already mentioned. So.
I am honored.
Yeah,
Be careful.
Where's the other quest? That's over there. Right. Let's go up here with these civilian recruits. Excuse me.
Greetings.
You've come to enlist, right? Normally you'd have to stand in line with the other recruits. Normally you'd be out of luck because the recruitment ledger's gone missing and I can't process anyone until a new book gets here. Fortunately for you, I've heard about what you did in Outland. To be honest, you're a cut above these poor saps. Lines aren't for you. Go to the barracks and speak with the general. He'll be more than happy to meet with someone of your caliber.
Go with honor, friend.
What's the matter, Death Knight? Think you're too good to stand in line with the rest of us? Well, yeah, actually. Oh, town is probably not the correct word. This was never a town. So Valdegard was actually a town even before this campaign happened, even before we came up here to expand into it. This place, Valiant's Keep, was built for the invasion into Northrend. So, yeah, no kidding, Nether. You know, I wouldn't even be surprised if that was actually exactly what Varian said. Put a statue of me up here. It'll inspire the troops. Right.
What can I do for you?
Also, just one other thing I want to mention here, really quick. So once again, Valdegard was understaffed, undermanned, and barely functional, right? And they had, like, another fortress which wasn't even completed yet, and then a tower town area, which wasn't actually one of theirs. They just appropriated it. So the Alliance forces in the fjord are practically non-existent. Again, remember that part of that is because the Forsaken decided to be idiots and wipe out an entire fleet that was supposed to reinforce them. However, if you're paying attention, the entirety of the forces in the Howling Fjord was commanded by a captain of the Alliance forces, and he was the highest-ranking person in the entire area. And not counting the Admiral, but the Admiral actually wasn't in charge of anything there. He was the guy on the ship. Anyways, so this is great, though. So the Draenei have sent some of their greatest troops to assist in the war effort against the Scourge. And he says, and I quote, "Give the word, General. I will have 2 regiments at your disposal in a month's time." The counselor says, "Our troops, General, consist of villagers and peasants. Good men, but not quite rid of the prejudices and superstitions of their upbringing. They're not ready to fight alongside our more exotic allies. Your offer will be carefully considered, Harbinger. In the meantime, we'll make use of your delegation in an advisory role." "Very well, General. Should you change your mind, my people will be more than willing to provide military assistance." So in addition to the fact that we're up here, undermanned, having purchased this beachhead with blood, as Raskor points out, and understaffed and under-resourced, the Draenei have flat up said, "We will commit armies to your path." And the Alliance said, "No, we're cool. It's good. It's good." Also, this partially explains why that the forces here are pretty much universally humans and dwarves.
King's honor, friend.
Well, I've been expecting your arrival. Welcome to Northrend.
Light bless you.
It's good to have you here amongst us, Xylom. I've heard all about your past deeds. Your armor speaks well for your outland heritage. As you know, King Rin is moving great armies into Northrend, but armies are nothing without true heroes to inspire and to lead them. Armies of civilians. I want you to be that hero for my men. Fight alongside them for the scourge that lay siege to our stronghold. Report to Sergeant Hammerhill outside of Innerhold. Valiant's Keep cannot fall.
Be careful.
Maybe you should actually take up the Draenei on their frickin' offer then. Or maybe you should tap the Night Elves, who I assure you are very interested in fighting the Scourge. Or maybe you should send actual troops up here instead of civilian recruits. Now, there's one thing I don't actually have an answer for, and I find myself very curious. There's a lot of civilians here, and more coming all the time. This fodder, let's call it what they are. These are fodder. So of all these civilians, how many of these volunteered, and how many of these were enlisted? Or not enlisted, that's the, conscripted. There we go. How many of these were conscripted? Now, for those of you who've played through Cataclysm, you understand part of why I ask that, since, don't forget, Westfall. Just keep that in mind. For the Horde. Or wait.
Talk to me.
By Magni's beard! Looks like the heavy artillery's arriving. Well, it's good to see Arios bringing out the big guns. Don't get me wrong, our lads are doing the best they can, but someone of your renown, well, that could really turn the tides for us. I'm not sure how much longer we're going to hold off against these Nerubians.
Watch your back.
So, by the way, I really want to stress the stupidity of this. See this? This is where the actual fighting's happening. Now, I know this is MMO, you have to kind of keep things in mind, but I just want you to look at the distance between desperately fighting for their lives against the Nerubians, who are winning, and there's the actual front gates of the keep. Desperate fight, keep. Personally, I agree with Hylisk. I think they're still in the mindset of the old ways. We will conquer Northrend because it is glorious! And the Horde have that same problem. By the way, don't think I'm being like a Horde apologist or anything. The Horde is just as stupid in Northrend as the Alliance is. This was officially the expansion where I wanted to no longer be a part of the Alliance or the Horde. I wanted to be neutral. I wanted to be in the Army of Light. This is, you know, I talked about that idea in Warlords, in Pandaria, actually. But, while, oh, that quarry. But that idea first came to light here in Wrath. It's like, oh my god. Can I be part of the faction who's actually doing something about our problems rather than being an idiot? I had been proud to be called a horde pretty much up to this point in time. Anyways. Hell, I'd even been proud to have been called an alliance up to this point in time. A little bit, anyways. Well, okay, not really. I'm lying. So let's help break the siege that they're stuck in and incapable of resisting because they're out here fighting with peasants wielding guns they've probably never wielded before except yesterday. Yeah, seriously, Kaluak? Are the Kaluak taking recruits? I'm down with the Tusker people, I'm just saying. They're pretty awesome. Oh, yeah. But what the one Joker points out is really, really important. So you see this? You see this siege that they're fighting back? What do you think this is over here? I'll give you a hint. This is a frickin' farm. This is a farm that, as you can see, the farmers are actively fighting for their life against the Scourge well outside of those safe walls. And there's a siege between the safety of the walls and the farm where they're getting their freaking... Nether, I keep telling you, if you're going to spoil stuff, spoil it to me. If it's for Legion, of course. Unless you're talking about other things. In which case, oh my god, this is just... Really, guys? Really? Really, guys? Is this what we've come to? Alliance of nitwits? And racists, apparently?
Good day to you.
You there, please, I need your help. This soldier will succumb to the Crypt Fiend's venom unless we act immediately. I've managed to slow down the poison, but without the suitable... Well, then whisper, Nether. Without a suitable supply of the antidote, I cannot counteract it. I was promised a new shipment of anti-venom in the Stormbreaker's most recent trip, but it didn't show up. Go, quick, hurry!
Safe travels.
Quick! Alright, let's see if there's a new shipment of supplies. Let's see here. Alright, going on this ship. Hey, look! There's Cult of the Damned members in a ship in the harbor behind the walls of the city that's under siege. There's also an altar of the Cult of the Damned in the ship in the... So what's worse, guys? To have the Cult of the Damned so thoroughly infiltrated the Alliance that they literally have the ability to just sneak on board one of their military warships designed specifically for the Northrend campaign. So this is a new ship. And manage to get up here. Or the Horde who have Garrosh the Moron. Like, which is worse? Oh, I already knew that, Nether. But thank you. Oh my god, I can't believe this crap. It's just, really, guys? Really? Hey, you! Yeah, Captain?
Need assistance?
Hey, you have Cult of the Damned in your ship.
You have a great day now.
You need something?
We must notify the General at once. I've known the Captain for a long time, and believe me, he's one of the more careful ones. Who knows how many other cultists has smuggled in.
Safe travels.
I mean... It's not like cultists can't just literally walk into a line of people without any prior identification or documents and join the military. No. We are definitely very carefully screening for potential spies or infiltrators here in the Alliance military.
You got my attention.
Nice job, lad. Show the lads how it's done. Right, I'm just going for money at this point. We're doing a good job of holding the front lines. You are. Some of these cheeky fiends can fly over our front lines and are really beaten down in the defenses. I've requisitioned reinforcement fishing nets from our civilian ships. If you got a good throwing arm, they'll help you knock the enemy out of the sky. Because we don't need fishing or anything like that. No. I'm sorry. I'm being really negative. It's just, oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, let's go turn in. Hey, buddy.
Light be with
You're
you.
infiltrated by the cult of the damned. Infiltrators might be anywhere! Sorry. Anyways, thank you for your concern. We were made aware of this situation not too long ago. Counselor Talbot assures me this is an isolated incident and not a cause for military concern. Our civilian authorities will make sure everyone involved is properly prosecuted.
For the Alliance.
That's very comforting.
Need help?
I see that you're very eager to help. You didn't come all the way to Northern to stay holed up in the city. I have just the task for you. We've long sought to gain the favor of the Tuskar, native to Northrend. For some reason, they joined the Horde. Recently, a young Tuskar came to us helping, and we couldn't offer at the time, but now that you're here, maybe you can help them out.
Go with honor, friend.
Okay, that's no problem. I can deal with that. That's true, Zewan. That is true. Hey, Redix. Welcome back. Also, hi, Mind Blast. No. It's definitely not a military issue having a military ship and a military outpost being militarily invaded by an enemy military.
How are you?
Here's the anti-venom. What, you found cultists? Well, you'd better notify someone.
See you around.
Oh, ding! Hang on, let's, should we get a shot of the keep? Yeah, we'll get a shot of the keep for this ding. We'll go over here for this ding. Oh, absolutely, Raskor. One of the things I actually wanted to talk about is even players tend to not really understand the gravity of the situation here. What is... Oh, I need to pick a talent. Death Pact, because it's the only good one. Seriously, it's the only good one. Yeah, we'll just put it there. It's okay. These guys aren't spiders. They're more like beetles. Stomp. One of the things that's a common thread throughout the majority of going through Northrend is it feels like we're winning the whole time unless you're really paying attention. And as you go further in, it gets more and more clear the Lich King is literally allowing you to progress, hey Sodashi, through Northrend. And it becomes more and more obvious. By the time we get to Zoldrak, he flat out says that he is literally allowing you to accomplish this. By the time you get to Iceground, he literally taunts you to come to his citadel. So the whole time it's like, okay, there's this sign in the distance that says this is a trap. And the further you get into Northrend, the more it becomes blatant and obvious. But I point this out because the way the story is portrayed throughout going through Northrend, even players have been like, I don't understand why the Scourge is such a big deal. I mean, we're just crushing them like bugs. I've had players actually tell me before, I don't see why the Scourge is such a threat. I didn't feel threatened at all going through Northrend, because we just kept winning against them. And that's the point. That's the point. If you're just looking at the surface of the issue, it looks like the Scourge are a nothing. What's the major threat we take away from the Howling Fjord? The Vrykul. What's the major threat we take away from the Borean Tundra? The Blue Dragonflight. What's the major threat of the Dragonblight area, and so forth and so on? It's not until late in the game that we start to realize the Scourge are quite literally toying with us and encouraging us to break our forces against their weakened, their holding back barest edge of their weaker forces in order to pull us further and further north and to bleed us dry for the Darwin thing I already mentioned, for the artificial selection thing, culling the weak, literally. So it's logical that even players would be like, nah, the Scourge are not an issue. Now imagine we, the players, who have more information than characters, imagine what the characters are thinking this whole time. Sir, I'm happy to report that we are crushing the crap out of the Scourge. Soon Northrend will be ours, for the Alliance. Meanwhile, sir, I'm happy to report that we have been victorious on every front for the Horde. Because both sides don't realize what they're doing and how much of a threat they're actually facing. They have no idea what they're up against. They have no idea at all. And at no point in time does virtually anyone think about it except for two groups. Two groups understand the severity of the threat. The Ebon Blade and the Argent Crusade. Both of them tend to focus very strikingly like, okay, no, this is serious. We need to be treating this seriously. We need to be doing the best we can. We need to say hello to Progue. It's very important. And once we get up there, we need to have our best people on display. They're the only groups, other than the player characters, arguably, who are actually like, we have to treat this invasion seriously. Is it no wonder that the Alliance and the Horde bleed each other out so dry throughout this campaign? I mean, God's sakes, how many Alliance and Horde troops managed to make it to Storm Peaks? How many managed to make it to Icecrown? Yeah, I think you get the point. In actual fact, if you really sit back and trace the campaign from a military perspective for the Alliance and the Horde, they both basically fall apart in Dragonblight. They managed to make their way from the Borean up to the Dragonblight, Hollingford up to the Grizzly Hills to Dragonblight, and that's pretty much where the Alliance and the Horde power ends. A few of their troops managed to make their way up into the Storm Peaks, and a few of their troops managed to make their way into the Icecrown, and pretty much all of those troops die. Very, very, very few Alliance or Horde actually get to the end game of Icecrown or Storm Peaks. So yeah, the Alliance and the Horde stopped being a relevant threat to the Lich King of the Scourge quite early on. Because, yeah. And the funny part is that's actually a great example of character and story, or story and gameplay integration. Because it's a great way to explain why the later on zones are neutral zones. If you don't know what I mean by a neutral zone, there's basically no Alliance-only quests and almost no Horde-only quests when you get to the later zones. There's like one or two. So when we go through, it doesn't matter which side we go through on, because we'll just be doing it on either side, because they're all neutral quests. And yeah, it's actually a good similarity there, Raskor. Oh, it's not really a blight. Yes, it is, you moron. You know what? I'm a Death Knight. And those guys are way up there. Wow, never mind. Hey, Takota. Hey, Grunge. I would say no, Zoan Joker. Not in full strength, like they should have. I don't think anybody committed their full forces to this, other than the Ebon Blade and the Argent Crusade. Hey, Kovac. So, yeah. Funny little fact about the Ebon Blade committing. Literally 100% of the Ebon Blade is here in Northrend to fight the Lich King. 100%. Their whole force is here. Argent Crusade, whole force. Just really showing the difference in commitment there. The Alliance sends a few troops up along with some civilian recruits. I just want to stress this again. The Horde sends up a decent amount of forces, actually, relatively speaking, but still not their full committal. The other two groups send everything. Everything. Ah, the Scourge are showing no sign of letting up. It's those blasted sinkholes. They're connected to tunnels all the way to Icecrown for all we know. Giant undead worms burrow through the ground to create them. There's something... if there's something years of mining has taught me, it's that without support beams, tunnels will cave in easily after an explosion. Take these explosives and collapse them.
Be good.
I'm not sure they could have, honestly, Mind Blast. See, as much as I make fun, and oh, I make fun, it is entirely possible, yes they did, Dakota, it's entirely possible that if the Alliance and the Horde actually went full tilt into Northrend, the Scourge would just have to resist them more. and actually, show them some of the real Scourge forces, and then we would have had the same basic result. There's not really a lot the living campaign people could have done here. You know what I mean? So as much as I make fun of them because they don't know that. They don't understand that they were screwed to begin with. Oh yeah, by the way, that was a nice touch there. The sergeant, the one giving orders, used to be a miner. Just another example of that either militia or conscript thing, as we've already talked about. That is true. The Forsaken and the Blood Elves sent everything. That's why I said the Horde did strongly commit. And that's because of the Blood Elves and the Forsaken, basically. Why is it not counting? Where's the southern seed coal? Oh, it's over there. Duh. And Psychotic, I've done that several times. I might, depends. Depends on my mood, usually. I will be doing the Firelands, though. Obviously. Well, actually, it's funny you say that, Salty. If you look at the overall relative military power of the Horde versus the Alliance, pretty much right up until Pandaria, the Horde were actually on top. Militarily well, primarily militarily, the Horde were on top. After Garrosh took control, they became economically on top. Now, that changed completely in Pandaria. In fact, it did a complete 180. The Alliance unified against the Horde in general, and against Garrosh in particular. And Garrosh basically butchered the Horde, killing his own people all over the place, and completely killing tons of his own forces, and of course, getting a huge amount of his own Orcish forces killed in the ensuing siege. So, after Pandaria, the Horde is way weaker, relatively speaking, than the Alliance is. And I don't think that's actually been balanced out yet. So, anyways, like I said, Hylisk, this is a little bit of a Kobayashi Maru that the Lich King has handed these forces. I just don't think they know it yet. But whatever. It doesn't excuse their stupidity. Just explains it.
With you.
My lads should be able to take it from here. Yeah, right. Valiant's Keep is built to take a beating from far worse than this. Haha. We sent a full detachment to protect our mining operations. They should be able to defend the civilians. General Green's in charge of the villagers. There's a pass out of the northern wall. We could take you straight to him.
Be good.
I know, right, Prog? It's crazy how Garrosh's plan of didn't actually work out. It's crazy. Oh, poor Arathi. Poor Arathi. I sure hope the dwarves reinforce it soon, since apparently we can't resurrect dwarves for stupid reasons. Sorry, letting it go. Hey, buddy.
You need something?
Yeah, I need to know why, like, 4 guys are defending your entire farm. Which is where your food comes from. You know, that stuff you need to eat to live. Sorry. You're here to help. You're just in time.
Be careful.
There's Scourge everywhere, Death Knight. They've organized the farmers and miners into a militia, but this just won't cut it. So one detachment of troops that Violence keeps sent is defending the mine. We haven't heard from them in days. If you really want to help us, why don't you go to the mine and see what's going on?
See you later.
Well, okay then. So screw the farm, I guess. Let's go over to the mine, then. Surely Farshire is just fine. I mean, that building's on fire. That's normal, right? Okay, just making sure. Yeah, Yeah, we will definitely be seeing the side effects of this foolish campaign into Northrend on both sides when we get to Cataclysm. Kamek, dude, chill, you're fine. All I have to say, man, is I'm curious if you've beaten Dragon Age yet, because, I mean, you kind of gave up and went over to Awakening. Your stomach feels uneasy as you approach the grain. Plagued grain. Where have I heard that before? Nah, it's probably not important. What do we got here? There's some kind of weird stench emanating from the grain. Oh, well. I'll go inform the troops. Hey, your grain is plagued. Hey, here's that entire detachment they sent to defend the mines. You know, those undead guys right there? Yeah. Yep. That's a thing. Nope, nope. Cult of the Damned hasn't infiltrated us. That's a civilian matter, Raskor.
Greetings.
Oh, those poor lads. They never had a chance. This sounds like an inside job. Dun, 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 dun. Well, Xylon, with the last of our military and Farshire dead or worse, we can do but one thing. Fight the Scourge ourselves. With literally with pitchforks and brooms. You guys are so lucky I'm here. Hey, Lord of the Flame. We're going through Northrend, obviously, I guess, title of the stream. Oh, gotcha, Kimmick. My bad. I apologize. And we finished the Howling Fjord, and now we're doing the Borean Tundra. So that's how far we are. I know, Takoida. If only somebody had written down the concept of plagued grain or cult of the damned infiltration or, like, anything. I mean... I'm not sure, Prog, if they sent the less troops here and worse troops here specifically so that they would die. I kind of doubt that, if I'm being honest. That would be incredibly stupid. I mean, I take a lot of stock in the stupidity of the Alliance and the Horde. But that would be really, really stupid. I mean, just, what the crap levels of, huh? That's literally like, well, Northrend is a failed campaign anyway, so just send a pittance force to die. We'll let the player characters and the Ebon Crusade, Ebon Blade deal with it, and the Crusade. They'll deal with the problem. Now, in the interest of total honesty, like I said, this is kind of a Kobayashi Maru scenario for the Alliance and the Horde. We also know they committed more than they should have here because we see the consequences of that in Cataclysm. But I will admit, if they knew everything that was going on, which they didn't. Remember, even the Ebon Blade didn't realize that they had been deliberately released from service on purpose, specifically so they could drag the survivors to Citadel. Remember, that's no, you're the opposite of correct, Grunge. I love this part of the game. Remember that even the Ebon Blade, gotcha. Even the Ebon Blade didn't actually know they were being played here, is what I'm trying to say. So even if these guys actually knew all of the events, which they didn't, of what's going on, the best possible strategy they could come up with is to try and literally just support the actual people doing the actual events of trying to push through Northrend and keep their people out of it. But I'm not sure that would have succeeded either, because the Lich King would have just kept doing what he was doing during the lead-up event. Remember, he was sending wave after wave of forces to Stormwind, to Orgrimmar, provoking. And if they had not taken the provocation, he would have just kept sending the forces until they won. He's willing to do that. It's not what he wants, but, you know, that's a consolation prize. So, again, this really was a no-win scenario. That's what it means, by the way, Mind Blast, a no-win scenario. Okay, so, with the last of our military dead, we've got to fight them back. Go fight back!
Good day to you.
I heard what you told Gerald, and I don't lack it one bit. If the cultists managed to poison the grain in the mines with some foul plague, they could have done the same with the grain outside. Yeah, no kidding. We don't have time to sort good grain from bad. We must purge the grain.
Have a good one.
Hello.
And yeah, as Raskor points out, we know that the Alliance and the Horde were actually very committed to this invasion. They just were very committed in a very stupid way. And again, the 7th Battalion and the Great Elites, which are in Grizzly Hills and Dragonblight, that's pretty much as far as the Alliance and the Horde ever get. They managed to push all the way up there, and they're like, yes! And then they push right up to the doors of the Ice Crown. Hey, Adam. So, I was in charge of the harvest golems. An important job till the Scourge destroyed our farmlands. I've got an idea that'd make the golems useful again. I can rewire them so they'll give us a hand fighting the Scourge. I'm not an expert at that yet. I just need my manual. The problem is I left it at my workshop, which is next to that burning building. Think you can go salvage it?
Have a good one.
Exactly, Takoida. That is exactly the situation the Alliance and the Horde in. So again, as much as I make fun for the stupidity of the Alliance and the Horde in this circumstance, and I do because it is stupid, the third-party person, you know, the me that understands the full situation that's going on here, understands that they were screwed no matter what. Try to remember that if not for the intervention of the Ashbringer itself, the Lich King would have won. Try to keep that in mind, despite everything that happens across the Northrend campaign. The Lich King was inches from winning forever. Yeah, me too, Kemek. That's one of my favorite features of Awakening, actually. So I hope you have fun. Do you mind if I pseudo-spoil one thing for you, Kemek? It's your choice. I'm not actually going to tell you a spoiler. I'm going to tell you something that I wish I had known when I first played it. If you want me to. If you don't, I totally get it. Except you probably already left. So now I'm talking to the air. That's not actually a theory at this point, Nether. The only thing we don't know is which Naru it is. Okay, so later on in Awakening, you're going to have to make a series of choices, which will very fundamentally alter how the last few gameplay sections and how the ending turns out. So all I want you to do is think very, very carefully about the choices you make, and then keep those in mind when you make those choices at the end of the game. Because it'll affect it. So just be warned. I didn't take into account when I was playing that the decisions I had made as the head of the circumstance, the Arling, would actually come back to be relevant later on. My own fault on that one. Yeah, that's always been my theory as well, Raskor. Kuure, I want to say? I forget. I talked about it in Outland. It's one of the 3 that was damaged by the Oshigun crash, basically. That might have worked, Mind Blast, but probably not, in all honesty. Because all that would have done is force the Scourge to actually commit stronger forces to the to those particular areas. And, see, basically the only way that could have actually worked is if they were doing that to hold those positions for the actual forces to keep going. Let me make one thing absolutely clear. I don't think the Alliance or the Horde could have ever had victory here without the intervention of the player characters. I want to make that absolutely clear. Wrath was the first expansion where the player characters were pretty definitively the heroes, the guys who were actually a major part of the story. Up until now, we've still relatively been just other forces that the actual heroes have been commanding or leading. This time, we were the ones actually pushing at the end there. And we're the ones who actually managed to make our way through the Citadel and yada yada. So I don't think the Horde of the Alliance could have ever actually won this war. not without our intervention. The absolute best they could have probably done is if they had managed to push the Scourge so hard that the Scourge had to actually try. For real, try. And if the Scourge actually tried for real, they would just plain win. Some people don't understand just how incredibly strong the Scourge forces are, and the fact that they're basically infinite, and the fact that they're constantly getting stronger with everyone they slay. And unlike the Forsaken, they can res anybody. So no, if the Scourge actually came out as full force, they'd just win. It might take a while. We'd put up a hell of a fight, but they'd win. You know? So... Waifu petting minigame? I don't even know what that is, OJ. I personally think a world in which the Alliance took over would be worse. Mostly because we've seen a world in which the Alliance took over. It was in between Warcraft 2 and Warcraft 3, and it was a mess. Part of the reason that the Cult of the Damned had so much of a surge of willing volunteers, people who willingly joined them, was because of the fact that everything was just miserable and terrible, with widespread poverty and disease and filthy, just degenerate nobles who were abusing their power. Not everything was bad in that period of time, but that's probably the worst it's been in that particular direction. A very a Game of Thrones without the horribleness kind of a situation, you know? I have no idea what you're talking about, OJ. I'll have to just take your word on it. So, can't really comment on something that I didn't know about. Yeah, I got your book back. Excellent. Okay, got it. Rewiring's a little complicated, but nothing a clever Death Knight like you can't handle. Take my tools and put some of the harvest collectors out of commission. Once they're down, use the tools to plug the red wires into blue sockets. Hurry!
See you later.
What can I do for you?
You've communicated with the Scourge in the only language they understand. Violence and death. Also, common.
Have a good one.
Hello.
Honestly, Grunge, it sounds like a lot of real-life things that I don't want to mention. But mostly I was thinking about the era of rampant and widespread nobility abusing peasantry. But give me a moment. To my knowledge, no Takoida, which is funny because you'd think there would be such a thing. Then again, as we find out, the actual Scourge Plague itself is really, really powerful. We'll see that when we get to Ice Crown, actually. Really, Hylas? Really? I'm not even going to respond to that. Oh, okay.
Safe travels.
Hey there.
Scourges keep coming! But we can't give up. Listen, inside that mine is a cart with the last of the ore the Alliance is going to see on this side of the continent for a long time. You have no idea, buddy. The problem is the cart release is locked. When the military went in there, Captain Jacobs commandeered the important equipment, including the cart key. The plague that's affected the soldiers in the mine might also have affected Jacobs. Quick, get the key from him.
See you later.
I'm sure, I hope someone's tried Takoida, but I don't know any instances of someone having tried off the top of my head. Which is a bit of a shame, because you'd think they would. Then again, the mages are very distracted right now. For reasons we'll discuss in a minute. And by a minute, I mean whenever we get there. All I gotta say to that, Salty, is I've known players who legitimately think Garrosh was right. Like, no joking. Like, he not just that he was, you know, doing what he had to do, but that he was legitimately correct in his strategy. And that he was exactly what the Horde really needed. Which is, what's the word? Dumb. That's the word I'm looking for. Well, like I said, Lorerun is very distracted right now. And will be for pretty much all of the Northrend campaign. How's that for funny? I'm trying to outlevel you, buddy. I'm sorry. Yeah. I actually used to, Oh, okay, we're done. I actually used to frequent the story forums. Then I stopped. You could probably guess why. But yeah, the Mages of Lorerun, to summarize for those of you who aren't aware of the other story arc that we'll be introducing in this zone, we'll basically be doing nothing against the Scourge. No, seriously, like virtually nothing. They've got their own problems. And, well, it is debatable if the world would have been destroyed by the first thing they solved. It is not debatable that the world would have been destroyed by the second problem they solved. So, I mean, you know, they're doing some good work. They're distracted by things that are, you know, pretty relevant to be distracted by. And the Scourge is just over there like, is anybody going to come fight us?
What can I do for you?
Nice job. I finally feel useful again. That's saying something.
Safe travels.
Can I help you?
I thank you, Xylon. This ore will be of vital importance to the Alliance in the times to come. I'd like to think we made a difference today. We didn't, but I'd like to think we did. That's it then. With the last delivery, we have enough to send you to Valiant's Keep. If Farshire is wiped off the face of Azeroth, at least let us be remembered as the first ones to defend our land, the last ones to give up. Take this ore to Hilda. She's a good friend of mine.
Be careful.
And then they were consumed by the Scourge. The end.
Hi.
What do you have there? Ore from Farshire. We weren't scheduled for a shipment yet. Is something wrong? Farshire's overrun? And all Geralt can think of is getting me ore? I swear that man has as much heart as any of our soldiers on the front lines. We cannot let the civilians lose their lands if they're willing to fight for them. We might not have any troops to spare. Why don't we have any troops to spare? But we do have some weapons. These were earmarked for new recruits, but screw those boys! Give them to them. Most compelling? Arthas, by a wide margin, followed by Illidan, followed by Kael'thas, followed by Deathwing, followed by Garrosh.
What can I do for you?
Farshire has a fighting chance now that we have weapons. All my men now need is a rallying point. I'll have my fit men deliver the weapons to our town hall. Go ring the town hall bell!
For the Alliance.
Get it? We're ringing the bell in the town hall. As humans. If you get it. Because we're humans and we're in the town hall.
You need something?
Okay.
See you around.
We might have saved a few people. Maybe. Hey, Leander. I sure as frick hope so, Toby. If not, well, it's time to get the pitching forks ready to go. Hello? You come to my aid? Well, thank you. Yeah, I know, right, Raskor? These creatures call themselves the Kvaldir. My people have legends about them, the Tuk Haruk, walkers of the fog. My village was destroyed by these giant mistmen. Everyone I knew was slain, including my father. By Tuskar law, I seek retribution against those who shed my kin's blood. I am but a fisherman, and I have not yet passed the test of manhood. I cannot stand toe-to-toe with the vile Kvaldir. Okay, I can help you. Farewell, Celestial. I would totally kill for some bell peppers that are stuffed right now. Right, not actually killing those. Damn it. Some of them Takoida, but not all of them. Favorite racial leader? That's actually a tough one, but I think I'm going to have to go ahead and go with... I think I'm going to have to go ahead and go with Lorthamar. Lorthamar put in a really, really good showing in Pandaria, and it was pretty awesome. I still think, personally, Lorthamar would actually make a better war chief than Vol'jin. In fact, if I can be just completely blunt, I don't think Vol'jin was a good war chief to begin with. Like, I don't think it was a good choice for it. Vol'jin's a great individual in several different ways, and he has his own strengths, but being war chief of the entire horde is not one of the ones I would count in that. So these are the Kvaldir. We'll actually be discussing them when we go through here as the horde. So for now, all I'm going to say is, as you can see, they're kind of like the Vrykul, and they're kind of in the mist, and they're kind of horrifying. Kinda. We're in the mist, Takoida. Here, you notice if we just leave the mist here. This is a great example of phasing, by the way. And we enter the mist, and then we can see them because now we're in the mist. Well, there's really only two possibilities for storyline arcs as far as Sylvanas goes, in my opinion. Possibility number one, redemption. Really unlikely, especially at this point after the events of war crimes. Option number two, she goes full tilt villain. Yes, even more than she already has. And she ends up being the next enemy that we have to fight against. As for which of those is more likely, well, I've pretty much just given my opinion on that, haven't I? So... Oh, now he gives me the quest. Damn it, dude.
My wares are available to you.
Oh, thank you for saving me. The Kvaldir are animals. They made us fight other prisoners. It would have been more merciful to just kill us. So as you can see... As you can see, even the Kvaldir still follow the general cultural perspectives of the Vrykul. Well, debatable, Takoida? There are several things that Sylvanas has done that are really, really horrible. But she's never actually outright attacked... the factions of the mortals as a whole. So, I think they would have to introduce someone new, someone whose name is Illyria, and someone who is coming back in Legion. You want more help? Okay, I can do more help. My own father was slain by the leader of this raiding party, Gamel the Cruel. He has made his abode inside the cave of the beach. You've dealt with this man already. Finish what you've started. Well, I am hopeful that there will be plenty of Forsaken who are not cacklingly evil who will be fighting against her. Kind of similar how there were plenty of Blood Elves who were decent people who were not on the side of Kael'thas when he became cacklingly evil. Now, I'm sure plenty of Forsaken would willingly follow Sylvanas, because let's be honest, they do owe her a lot. But I would imagine not all of the Forsaken would follow her. That being said, it is worth noting that it's kind of a weird situation. See, if you are... I'll talk about this more when we make our undead character, but basically, if you are raised as a Forsaken, you're screwed. Your choices are follow Sylvanas or worse. Like, those are your only options, because the world hates you for what you are, and the world will never think of you as anything else, so you are locked in. You don't get a choice in the matter, you know? You did it! Well, of course I did. You asked me to. There's someone who might shed a light on this mystery. It is rumored the Kvaldir have kept a Naga priestess alive. She'll no doubt have a reason to resent her uninvited Kvaldir guests. Well, let's go take a look. Yeah, no kidding, Dakota. I don't even want to know. That's a good question, little Billy. The generally accepted answer is no, at the moment. Have you come to mock me, Worgen? 500 years ago, Ashara imprisoned a being named Leveroth in the waters below. Now these barbarians seek to undo our queen's work. When they took over our city and began to sacrifice my brethren to awaken him, when they ran out of Naga, they began to take Tuskar. Their spirits will know no peace. I will help you, for it will go a long way towards quelling my vengeance. Their captain, Ragnar, dwells in the northeastern Riplash. He has in his possession a golden trident. Bring it to me. The reason I say it's debatable if Sylvanas has actual control over the Forsaken is because she has demonstrated the ability to influence undead, but she doesn't use it particularly frequently. Most of the time, she treats them as if they're just people, so, you know, she has no more control over the Forsaken than Varian has control over the humans, right? It's basically just the fact that she is a leader, and that's it. And of course, she lost the one thing she had going for her as far as the ability to directly manipulate and control the Forsaken. She used to have a pet Nethrezim, don't forget. Anyways, I should probably talk about the Naga while we're here. So as you can see, a lot of Night Elven ruins here in this old city. This is actually a Naga city. The Naga have pretty much fully claimed this city. And for some reason, when the Kvaldir came, they pretty much took spot here and said, let's go ahead and resurrect Leveroth. If you're asking for a why, I don't really have a why. I do know a few things about the Kvaldir, but like I said, I want to share those when we go through on the Horde. So, we give her the... So, Rajnajan was the Emperor of the Riplash when Leveroth was imprisoned. Ashara herself blessed his trident so it would slay the beast should it ever escape. Now you wield it, Worgen. As much as it disgusts me, I will have my revenge on these barbaric giant men. Take the trident to the depths beneath Riplash. You will find Leveroth below an iceberg close to the northern Riplash. Drive it into his flesh and slay him. When you're done, go back to whoever sent you. I wish to see no more of you. Now, we just need Bolvar. That's all we need to do, guys. We just need to take over Bolvar. If only we had a Nethrezim who had a stronger will than Bolvar does. And yeah, War Crimes pretty much solidified the direction Sylvanas' character arc is going in. Which is a damned shame, if I'm being honest. I feel like Verisa was the only chance for Sylvanas to actually be redeemed. And she threw it away. So, yeah. By the way, one of the things that we do know in Legion, and this is not a spoiler, this is already a part of the promotional material, is the fact that she is her primary motivation, other than fighting the Legion, is that she's going there to try and find more Valkyr, because she's heard the reports that there are Valkyr that have been found there. So that's like one of her primary motivations in the Lost Shores or whatever. Yeah, that was pretty much the choice that was being made there. Children or sister. And I'm not saying I necessarily blame Verisa, but the problem is there is no denying that Sylvanas has basically been damned as a result of Verisa's action. Like, she's never coming back from that. And I have to point out that Verisa kinda didn't handle it the most diplomatically that she could. Rather than telling her sister, I'm sorry, I want to go be with my children, and tried to explain it to her and let her understand, she just ran away, never said another word to her, ever, and completely abandoned her. And so Sylvanas didn't take that very well, for some strange reason. I mean, I can't imagine why.
Greetings.
Right. Oh, good, you're Xylon, right? We need your help up north at Fizzcrank Airship, like yesterday. The Magnetar and the Scourge and the pumping station. It's madness, I tell you. Madness! You gotta get up there and talk to Old Man Full Throttle ASAP.
Off and away.
Yeah, Verisa. What the? Why is there another quest? Oh, it's that one. Duh.
Hey there.
I recently received word from William Allerton, a family friend, that my brother enlisted here in Valiant's Keep on the same day he did. The thing is, my brother's been dead for years. I sold everything I owned to come looking for Thessarian, only to be stonewalled by local bureaucracy. I've even been threatened with arrest if I keep snooping around, because the Alliance takes care of its citizens. I need someone in the good graces of the higher-ups, someone like you. If you can help me, I heard William's stationed in the Farshire Mine.
See you later.
Sure, I'll look into that for you. Quests are moving around on me. It's kind of weird. Yeah, by the way, that's... I want to stress, this woman is here because she heard that her brother was still alive. And she's ecstatic. She sold everything she owned so she could get passage up here to Northrend to try and find her brother. And when she gets up here, she's told, bureaucratic wall. And when she tries to look into it herself, she's threatened with arrest. Thanks, Alliance.
The Naru have not forgotten us.
Not so fast there. I don't know about you, Death Knight, but I was hardly convinced by the General's words. They rung unsure, as if they were not his own. Something's amiss here. All our efforts to collaborate have been blocked and delayed. It's time we took a more independent approach. If we're to learn more about the cultists inside the keep, maybe we should investigate the ones outside. Intelligence groups report the small group of them aiding the Scourge north of here. See if they carry any clues.
Dionys Akar.
Yeah, no. Cult of the Damned's fine, guys. It's great. It's great! Nothing is amiss here, sir. Thank you. Ah, there he is. She.
Hey!
Ah, yes, this is another excellent quest. I told them all that I remember. Why don't they believe me? I was gathering herbs by the rift, and they came out of nowhere, dark wizards with magical beasts. I was surrounded. A huge magical cube appeared above me. It opened up and pulled me inside. Oh, I swear it's true. Just as I began to close around me, my rescuers swooped in on the back of Drake's. It was amazing. My captors scattered, and I was able to escape. I never thanked them for saving me. Please, Death Knight, if you see them, pass on my gratitude.
Goodbye now.
So that right there is probably one of the primary quest arcs for Borean Tundra. But before we get to that, the only question is, can the Scourge make undead ethereals? If the answer is yes, the Scourge win. If the answer is no, that gets a lot more interesting. And of course, they're all dead. So now I have to go hug Bragwin. Hug. With giant undead wings of doom. Are these? Yeah. We'll go ahead and go with the quest while we're waiting. So let's see if we can find this guy that she knows up here. Maybe he'll be able to help us find Thessarian. I'm sure he's not undead or anything like that. Oh, good news. He's not undead. He's dead. The corpse matches the description she gave you. Oddly enough, there are no bite or claw marks on him. His neck has been cut by a sharp object. Further investigation reveals a single clue, an enlistment card bearing the name of William Allerton. I was going to say I thought you had a nice pair already, Bragwin, but what kind of wings would you want? I mean, there's draconic wings, bat wings, dead wings, angelic wings, artificial wings, energy wings. Hello, Mihinrik. I don't know how to say that. Hello, Tepis. Where the hell are the frickin' cultists? Gosh darn it. There's never a cult of the damned when you need them. Oh, there's some. Die. 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 There we go. Buffalo wings. I mean, that's an option too if you're interested in that. Okay. Let's see what she has to say about this.
You need something?
You spoke to him? Do you think William's death was a random killing by the Scourge? Things kind of seem fishy. Something's up. We need to find Thessarian. Poor Mr. Allerton. Might yet help us find our brother. She unveils a voluminous book, not unlike an army ledger. Look, I borrowed it, okay? Let's see. Does that enlistment card have a date? William saw Thessarian at the enlistment line. Their entries must be near each other. Here it is. He was assigned to Unit S? All other military units are named after Alliance towns. Who is in the unit? When are they deployed? We need rumors. See if the innkeepers heard anything.
See you around.
Excuse me.
I supply only the finest goods.
Can't say help you, friend, but I know someone who might be able to. Military was all that old man Colburn had. After he retired, he still clung to it like a lifeline. He knows the name of every general, unit, brigade, detachment, you name it. He's the man you need. Problem is, the mind is scarred. He won't talk to anyone unless he gets his cool Tiras wine. Takes him back to the times when he was a Marine. And I haven't received a shipment in months. The last merchant ship out of Cool Tiras sank northeast of here. See if you can salvage a bottle for him.
See you later.
Wait, what? We're actually getting shipments from Cool Tiras? Well, then where the heck are they? And why aren't they in the game yet, damn it? I'm sorry. I just really wish Cool Tiras would be in the game. Am I alone in that? Is that just me? Really, dude? A ship battle raid, that'd be awesome. I don't know yet, Wolf Monster. I mean, War Crimes was not actually that great in my opinion. And really only relevant for 2 reasons, so... Hey, old man Colburn.
You need something?
Have some wine. Not too bitter. Not too dry. Just like the old days with the lads at the barracks. Unit ass. Unit ass. Don't make any sense. I'd have been named after a town. Darkshire was sent to Dragonblight. Goldshire boys were sent to the fjord. Where did I hear? Oh! Right, the deserter. There's a turntail in the barracks prison. Got thrown in long ago. Kept saying the S stood for suicide. Look for the deserter. He might have some information for you.
Have a good one.
Considering Jaina has both the mage fleet and the Kulturas fleet technically under her, if she actually has control over it, we don't actually know if that's true or not. But yeah. Hey, Private.
What can I do for you?
What do you want? Got enough problems as it is. Listen, no offense, but the operation they put Thessarian in charge of was pure suicide. A handful of our men were to launch an attack on the biggest Scourge presence in the area. Call me crazy, but storming a Scourge ziggurat outside a plagued Nerubian city with a dozen men isn't my idea of fun. If you're still interested in finding Thessarian, we're supposed to arrange a passage each with a Tuskar by the name of Talca in Kaskala to the northeast. Good luck with your fool's errand.
See you around.
Like I said, Raskor, if she ever tried to claim Kulturas, I'd be curious what would happen. Also, hey, Sheandra. Why is Matt Horner? I don't want to know.
Blessings upon you.
Be discreet, Xylem. We cannot look at this evidence in front of prying eyes. That's odd, Nether. Did she get deposed? I'm afraid this is a matter I must delegate to one of my operatives. Keep the evidence with you. Take it to Vindicator Yala inside the inn. Tell her I sent you of this matter. Tell no one else. We do not know who is working with the cult.
Be kind to those less
I do love how the Draenei are the ones actually interested in seeking out the, yeah, no kidding, Raskor. Seeking out the Twilight Cultist infestation. I find that ironic because of all the races on this planet, you'd think Draenei would be very, very accustomed to that kind of a thing, given how many of their own kind betrayed them to the Legion more than once. Oops, wrong way. There she is. Hello, Vindicator.
Arcanon Poros.
Speak quietly, Death Knight. What information do you have on the cult? Also, that armor looks really cool on you. Just saying. I've made it my business to know as much as possible about the vile death cult, including their secret language. Vurid was right. The cultists mentioned disguised operatives in various locations in Valiant's Keep. The docks, the jail, and the inn's kitchen. Take this Oculus. Use it at those 3 locations. Anyone that has recently used the cult's necromancy will be enshrouded in a dark aura. Take care of the cultists before something nefarious happens.
Remember the lessons of the past.
So, in case you wonder just how much the cult had infiltrated Valiant's Keep, that's the primary chef for the inn right there. Who's, oh, I guess I have to confront him. Hang on. Hey, buddy.
Well met.
You're a cultist.
Be careful.
So... I suppose this is it, then. I won't go down quietly. Hey, Samurai. I don't think Jaina would pull a bonkers and go Garrosh. She already had her violent moment. She could do a lot of things, though. They could really go a lot of different directions with her character if they really felt like it. Oh, there he is. Here's someone down on the docks. So that's a cook
Good
and a
day
dock
to you.
master
See you later.
who's in charge of fishing, if you talk to him. Yeah, I'm a little surprised these guys are willing to blow their cover just because we have determined they're using necromantic energies. I mean, what evidence do we have, right? Other than the fact that they're using necromantic energies. Alright, let's see who's a cultist down here. You! Just
Greetings.
a guard. Can't wait to catch some shut-eye, know what I mean?
For the Alliance.
Finally! The charade is over. Arthas, give me strength! I mean, really, they just completely blow their cover. These people have been so undercover that they are completely infiltrating both organizations, Horde and Alliance, at every level. And they're just like, oh, thank God, I can stop being, pretend about it. Hey, Brother Box. Oops, up. Oh yeah, there's a nice scene that we just missed the tail end of. 3 guards walk in, say, well, it's time to go ahead and head out to the front lines, and one of them says, why don't we get a drink before we go? And so they make this big ceremony about this big, this is going to be their very last drink, and we drink to Stormwind, and we drink to our homelands, and they drink it. And then there's this awkward pause, and one of them says, I guess that's it then. Off we go. And one of them says, that was the worst beer I ever had. And they probably go off to die.
The Legion will fall.
You've done well, Asylum. However, I cannot shake the feeling this is not the last we've seen of these death cultists. Darkness is a way of hiding, even in plain sight.
Remain vigilant.
Seriously, though, they probably do genuinely go off to die. That is most likely what happens there. I sure hope not, Shayandra. To quote the Doctor, I am not a god. I am not a god. Hey look, the Kvaldir. Oh, god damn it, the Kvaldir are attacking. Frickin' Kvaldir. Hate them.
Yes, Shalaska?
Oh, I remember the man you speak of. He bore the marks of Karkut. May Karkut protect our fallen. Oh, the man you seek went far to the east, a place near the coast of Death's Stand. Be careful if you go in search of him. He bears the mark of Karkut, he who watches over the dead.
May your nets always be full.
Yes, it's so peaceful to live in Westfall after Northrend. Totally. Oh my god. Yeah. Pretty much all of them, yes, Schmeidolf. There's another good recruitment speech, by the way, for joining the Cult of the Damned. Not only will we take care of you and actually, treat you right, unlike everyone else will, but we'll teach you magic, too. You ever wanted to be a mage?
I will hear you.
Okay, as much as I really want to go help poor Thessarian, I can't just ignore these poor Tuskar. So, Kaskala is a sacred place for us, Worgen. Our ancestors were guided here by the spirit of Tayatukta herself. Now these foul creatures attack us from the mist without any provocation. We will show them that our spears are not merely meant for wailing. Fight alongside us. Perhaps my people will repay you in the future.
Boron Furu.
No, Progue. No. You have to understand, Northrend was never a peaceful place. Even before the Lich King became a thing, this was a very hostile territory. Even with when the Vrykul were down. Yeah. Yes, that is correct, Takoida. Now, some people are always going to show greater, what I like to think of as affinity for magic and certain types of magic than other people. Excuse me. For example, Jaina Proudmoore herself had tremendous affinity for frost magic in particular, and arcane magic in general. So, even though she was intelligent and applied herself and worked and learned to become a mage, that effort had greater results because of that natural affinity. Not that I'm aware of, Little Billy, but they should. Yeah, she's pretty talented. Pretty damn talented. One thing, a similar thing could also be said for Queen Ashara. In fact, that's probably why Ashara became Queen Ashara, because in a society that revered magic more than anything else, she was damned talented. But again, even random farmer Joe Bob can be taught magic if he applies himself to learn. That's the catch. That's the point that really needs to be mentioned there. It's not like you could just walk up and... Well, actually, if I could relate this into a different way. Do you know... I know this is going to sound like a weird topic, but it's something I know a lot about, especially... Anyways, did you know that just about anyone could get into good physical shape? All they need is to be able to apply themselves and have the will and determination to keep applying themselves. And they have to have the knowledge of how to do it and the expertise or tools necessary to do it. So any given person can be in shape. But I use that as a parallel because some people, especially in setting, think, well, anyone can become a mage, so I'm going to go become a mage. Yay! And just like with losing weight, some people think, well, it should be easy. I should have results within the week. But that's not how it works. It's something you continue to do over a long period of time, and you apply yourself, and you work at it, and you grow with it, and you get better at it, and eventually you have results, right? It's the same thing with learning magic. And again, random farmer Joe Bob could totally go and learn magic, but it would take him time and effort and work, and again, he'd have to apply himself. He'd have to really do his best. Yes, druidism can also be taught. It just takes the study and the years and the meditation and all that other fun stuff.
Who is this that speaks?
I thank you, Xylem. I'll be deeply in your debt if we ever make it out of here alive. Listen well. Warriors like me are irreplaceable. If I fall... are replaceable. If I fall, my brothers and cousins will pick up my spear and fight. But my people cannot survive without the wise elders. Stubborn Muahit, our most venerable shaman, refuses to leave the altar to Tuyaktka in the central island. We would suffer a significant loss if he was slain by these monsters. You are an outsider. Maybe he'll listen to you.
Visit again when you can.
And by the way, yeah, I'm one of those people who has argued many, many times that there really should be no class race restrictions. An exception can exist for anything. Alright, enough. Apparently none of my mods are awake right now. Atalka sent you, didn't he? I am not one to be swayed, but all is not lost. The spirits are still with us. Powerful spirits watch over my tribe. Kaskala will not be lost. Isliruk will give us courage. Tatukya will make sure our survivors will always have food and shelter, and Karkut will watch over the fallen so they do not lose their way. Isiruk's guidance is the one thing we need most right now. I've asked my nephew, Iruk, to bring me Isiruk's totem, but the Kvaldir spears struck him down and his body fell to the waters. Bring me his totem. Don't let my nephew's death be in vain. I didn't actually realize I had mods on right now. I mean, other than Bragwin, obviously. Like, I thought you'd gone off to do something else, Samurai, because you hadn't said anything. So I just assumed I didn't have anyone. But seriously, I really don't think there really should be any class race restrictions, personally. I know some people will argue with me on that, and that's fine. It's understandable. There are people who disagree with me on things, and strangely enough, that's something that I'm okay with. It's just, you're not going to sway me on the matter, because I do think we should be able to have Forsaken Paladins. I do think we should be able to have Gnome Druids, and so forth and so on. What do you mean, Random? Your statement makes no sense, sir. Okay, I mean, Night Elf Mages, again, was something that actually made a lot of sense in lore. And allowing us to play one of those exceptional few who does it, I'm with that. I am totally with that. Like I said, my perspective as a GM is, if you can give me an in-lore, consistent reason why one member of a race should be a part of a class, even if it doesn't normally fit, as long as you can come up with a lore reason for that, I'm totally okay with that. Let's make it happen. I'm with it. Done. No issues whatsoever. All I ask is that explanation. I mean, I even allowed people to play humans in the Primus campaign, and I was very against that idea. Ah, the totem organ. Do you have it? Can you feel Isiruk's presence, Xylom? He does not want his children to perish at the hands of the Mistwalkers. Just block him, Random. The spirits have heard our cry for help, Xylom. It's a sign that Cascala might yet be saved. Take advantage of the confusion the weather has created and slay the Kvaldir leader. Your actions will sway the battle in our favor, I'm sure of it. Let's do it. Just as it begins to snow. Yay. Oh, I agree, Psychotic. Absolutely. But then again, we do allow people to play, I mean, I hate to really point this out, Warlocks. We have playable Warlocks, you know? Do I need to add anything to that? You've done us a great favor, Morgan. The fight is not yet won, but my people now have a chance. Ding! Oh, awesome. I want to ding, like, right here. And yeah, as Hylisk points out, in lore, try to remember that at most, there are about 25 PCs in the game at any given point in time. Hey, Total. So yeah, again, as much as it is kind of the special snowflake thing, and I totally get why some people don't like that in response to Zoan Joker, there's no denying the fact that there are not that many PCs in lore. There's just a small handful. Again, 25 at the most, really. And those people are the only ones in the whole setting who might be, you know, a Forsaken Paladin, for example. All I'm trying to say is, I'm still working on that, sweetest, but thank you for the encouragement. All I'm trying to say is that it's consistent with lore for there to be that kind of exception. We have seen that kind of a thing. Now, I do think it's possible to take that too far. For example, if you were able to play, oh, I don't know, a shaman, priest, paladin, mage named Madan, then I think that's officially crossing the line. At that point, you're not trying to be a unique character with your own backstory, or you're not trying to be something who's like, you know, deeply integrated into the lore or anything. You just want to be amazing. You just want to be the one guy who's fantastic. You want to be Batman, as I've said many, many times. And I know what you're thinking. What does that have to do with Batman? In lore, Batman is an incredibly exceptional, unique individual. He is someone who drives himself to be as good as he is. He struggles constantly. He is at the farthest end of the bell curve, and he's the only one. And so a lot of players, when they try to make a new character, either in a role-playing game like D&D or Pathfinder or GURPS, or someone who wants to play in a game like Skyrim or Oblivion, they want to be Batman. They want to be the one guy who is as far at the end of the curve as they can. Now, I enjoy playing that type of character from time to time. But if you're trying to just do that just to be that character, that like no lore, no backstory, no characterization, but again, no Madan. We don't want to have that thing. And now that's actually an interesting question, Shyandra. And actually, my personal headcanon is no. There's about 25 PCs. There's about 10 on one side and about 10 on the other is actually how I think of that as. Now, I'm not sure I agree with what Someone Joker says. What I wish is that this was a game that it isn't. I know, you're going to make fun of me for this. But as was pointed out earlier, if you're a Night Elf mage, anytime you interact with other Night Elves, they should be spitting on you. They should be barely tolerating you. But we don't get that because this is not that kind of a game. You can't. It's very, very difficult for a game of this style, of this engine, to acknowledge that you are a race class and then change the dialogue as a result of that. So you don't really see that. So we don't really see NPCs treating you differently because of your choice to be that special snowflake, which I am totally in favor of. I would even be in favor of certain race class combinations getting different quests than other race class combinations, because some of the default quest givers are just refusing to deal with you. But that would take an insane amount of time, effort, and planning, and would be more work effectively just for the flavor lore of the situation. So I understand why they don't want to do that, even though that is actually doable, since you can check for those flags. But anyways.
Let us visit for
That's... yeah, okay, so that's
good
a go-to.
hunting.
Got like 3 go-tos right now. Oh, by the way, this statue thing here, I'll be talking about this statue a little bit later. So don't worry. We will talk about the statues. But yeah, that's a great example. Warlocks should be like disgustingly hated. Death Knights should still have tremendous prejudice against them. I'm trying to think of what else. There's a few things where people should just be treating you a little bit different. I imagine goblin shamans, for example, should probably be like, oh, a goblin shaman, it's ridiculous. Tainting the great and glorious work of the shamanistic art, and, you know, so forth and so on. Alright, there are 2 people left in this squad. And a horse. Right.
What can I do for you?
The Saurian? Yeah, he was here. What of it? We have a little more pressing problems right now. Our situation is literally hopeless. Or nearly hopeless, excuse me. We were ordered to take the Wailing Ziggurat with a handful of men. We'll be lucky if we can hold this position against the Scourge. We're outnumbered, injured, and have no escape route. If you want to take some of the pressure off, we might be able to solidify our position. Kill some of the undead circling that structure. We'll hold them off.
See you around.
I would say only a handful, QQ. Maybe, say, about 400 total, at absolute most.
Greetings.
We're lucky we made it this far, Xylom. We're ambushed by the Scourge as soon as we landed. One of our men turned out to be a spy for the Cult of the Damned. The Saurian appears to have more evidence of cult infiltration. Apparently it goes all the way to the top. I've sent one of my best couriers to the western Dragonblight, but he hasn't returned. Will you go look for him?
Have a good one.
And yeah, dwarfs, there are other non-horde races that have a strong shamanistic thing going for them. And again, I'm just going to make this point once more. Just about any race could really coordinate with just about any class under the right circumstances. Oh, right, I have this now. Actually, I think only all of them, Tuttle. Only all of them. Except for the ones I'm doing for the Lorerun. These are characters that don't actually exist in lore. Blood Elf Shaman? That's easy. I can do that right off the top of my head. So there's a Blood Elf out there, or a group of Blood Elves. Let's make it a group of Blood Elves, who are desperate for magic and they can't find they just can't manage to satisfy it, and they're trying to find some new source in order to acquiesce their thirst, but they don't want to just drink with arcane magic. They don't want to just give in to the thirst like everyone else does. And so either they come across someone, or they hear the spirits, or something happens, and they get into contact with elemental spirits. The elemental spirits say, we will allow you to tap our magic. We can give you our elemental magic, and in exchange, all you have to do is, you know, make pacts with us, and work with us, and grow with us, and yada, 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 yada. Oh, that's stupid. So, there is one niggle in the any race should be any class situation. And that's the fact that every Death Knight is one that was created by the second Lich King. And the second Lich King doesn't exist anymore. Now, there's something I could spoil about how we could have Death Knights in the future, but I'm not going to talk about that. The point after that is the, how do I put this? All I gotta say that, by the way, Zoan Joker is Dwarven Warlocks. Anyways, so, there is a Pandaren Death Knight, for those of you not aware. And that Death Knight had to have been raised by the second Lich King, because those are the only sources of Death Knights we have. And some people have been like, oh, that's totally inconsistent. Well, that's not actually true. See, it's not that hard to understand that Pandarans have been roaming around the world basically since forever. Just a very, very small number of them. That's the catch. Chen and his niece and other Pandarans like them are the rarity. They are the exception. And I feel so, so bad for that one Pandaren who became a Death Knight, because that means a Pandaren happened to be roaming in the Lorerun area when the Scourge came through, was killed, and was deemed worthy of being raised as a Death Knight. Yay. Hello, High Priest Isidior. How the hell do you say your name? You know, I don't even care. Hey, Thessarian. No time for small talk. I was sent on what was to be a suicide mission to take this ziggurat. I've accomplished my duty as a soldier. Now it's time to get some answers. This lich has knowledge I seek, yet I cannot inflict pain to his physical body to obtain that knowledge. The lich stored his soul in a phylactery, and while it remains hidden, I won't be able to pry the information from him. Return to the camp and take my horse, Dusk, to the phylactery. Bring it to me.
We are done here.
And yeah, that particular Pandaren is definitely a special snowflake. That might quite literally be the only Pandaren who happened to be on that island, in that area, who happened to die, who happened to get raised by the Death Knight. That is literally like a step of RNG, and then a step of RNG, and then a step of RNG on top of that. That is exceptionally rare. Can I just go here? Do I need Dusk for this? Oh, great hiding place for your phylactery. I'm just going to toss it into a lake. Really? Really, dude? Actually, this is totally my phylactery to take, so thanks, buddy. No, little Billy. That's not how that works. Like I said, Tuttle, as a GM, you know, as a story writer, I'm okay with that, as long as you're willing to go the mile in order to actually explain it in lore and really bother to have a good reason for it. Basically, what it boils down to is, you have to convince me. And I agree that a lot of players want to play the something different special snowflake character, and it does get a little old. But again, the storyteller, the GM in me wants to be tolerant, wants to be understanding, and wants to be like, okay, fine, you want to be your special little person, fine. As long as you don't go overboard with it, I'm okay with it. The moment you try to start being Madon, screw you. I mean, like, let me give you a direct example of what I'm talking about here before I talk to Thessarian. On the moon, Shyandra. Thessarian, or not Thessarian, excuse me, the special snowflake thing. I once had a player working, who was a GM, I once had a player in a campaign I was GMing for, and he wanted to play something that doesn't matter. He wanted to play like the equivalent of a Pandaren Death Knight. Incredibly rare thing. And I'm like, really? And his response was, daily, Tuttle. And his response was, yes, and here's my reasoning, ... And I'm like, okay, you have successfully convinced me, I'm going to allow it. Very first session, first thing he did was start talking about how he's got all this knowledge and all this professions and all these bonus skills because of his previous life and all of these things he came across and all of this backing that he had because of his great backstory. And I'm like, whoa, 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 dude. What are you doing? And he's like, yes, you can, Eroke. And he's like, well, because of all this stuff that's in my backstory, I get all these bonuses to my game. Or my character. And I'm like, no, you don't. I allowed you to play that for role-playing reasons. You don't get a ton of special bonuses and awesome that you didn't earn because you managed to come up with a clever thing. And he's like, well, that defeats the point then. I ended up kicking him out of my game, by the way. Game Master. Guys, why is this so confusing? Someone who runs a D&D game. So, you're back. Did you get me the phylactery? Just in time. Pinning down a lich is not as easy as it looks. Now that we have the phylactery, I shouldn't have any problems getting the information I need. It won't take long for the Scourge in the Temple City to notice something's up here, however. I won't be able to fend off a full-scale attack. Or maybe I would, but I'd rather not find out. I want you to head down there and inflict some casualties. Hopefully they'll be distracted long enough for these two to spill their guts. Figuratively, of course. Take Lorerun with you. He might be of some aid.
Leave me be.
I have never used the term Dungeon Master because I personally think it's derogatory. And I don't run dungeons. I run games. Now, I know that sounds like me pulling it technically, but if I can explain for a moment. There are two types of D&D, in my experience. There's, I want to go on some adventures, and there's, I want to go play a campaign. I don't run adventures. I don't have you go into a dungeon and get some loot and fight some enemies. I run campaigns. I run long-term, extensive operations that have a world behind them and an overarching plot and a lot of story focus. So I run games, not dungeons. So that's the distinction. Before you think I'm being tepid about it, I've been calling him GM since literally, that would be 5th grade, is when I first started GMing.
Hey there.
I should buy us some time. Enjoy your time. Well, you helped us out, so I figure it's only fair we help you out as well. You're looking for Thessarian? He disappeared this morning. We think he went off to the Wailing Ziggurat. If you haven't fought side by side with him, we'd even think he was a traitor. See, he's a Death Knight. And I know they're on our side and all, but I wasn't too long ago they were servants of Arthas. But not Thessarian. He's a good guy.
Be careful.
Once again, we see that kind of prejudice against Death Knights. That's actually going to be kind of a common trend throughout Northrend, and kind of is going to help explain why the Death Knights have kind of receded as a force, and why one of the reasons why the Ebon Blade broke up. Because even when Thessarian literally just walked up to the Alliance, this is what he did. He walks up to the Alliance and says, I want to serve the Alliance. I want to serve my people. The Alliance says, okay, but you're a Death Knight. Yes, and I want to serve my people. And they're looking at him, and they can't think that he's like an infiltrator, because he's being so blatant and open and obvious about it. So they're like, all right, we'll send you with the forces going to Northrend then. So he gets to the Northrend, and he's like, yes, I'm ready to serve the Alliance. And they say, yeah, why don't we send you off on a suicide mission, because we don't like you, and we don't want to have anything to do with you, so go die. And that's pretty much how Death Knights are treated. Even one like Thessarian, who I want to remind you, pretty much walked up and said, here, I want to help.
What?
So, yeah, we'll just turn that in really quick.
Suffer well.
Alright, let's go kill everything. Oh, by the way, I was commented as saying that there were only like 2 functional necropoli in the game. My terminology was wrong, and I'd like to correct myself. Obviously, there's a couple up here. In fact, I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4? No, 5 necropoli throughout Northrend, of which this is one, of course. But what I meant by that, if you'll actually pay attention, my statement was still true, I just was saying it wrong. There are 2 battle fortresses, we'll use the new term, amongst the Northrend. Acaris and Noxeramus. All of the others are these lesser things. These much smaller and much weaker necropoli, which are nowhere near as powerful or as influential or anything like that. Because they're going to suffer anyways, little Billy, so you might as well suffer well. As for MMOs as a genre being stuck, I can't say that anything as a genre is stuck, because everything is always evolving and involving new technologies and new ideas, so... No, I don't think MMOs are stuck. I don't know what they could do to vary up the format, but yeah. Because we already have the two distinct types of MMOs well established. Player-generated content and developer-generated content. I don't know what else you could do to that. Hello, Matthias. No, grinding is the old MMO genre. I haven't seen anything about Black Desert Online that actually makes me want to play it, if I'm being honest. No. Okay, so... the Necropoli, those wonderful things up there, they're called that, but they're not actually mass graves. They are literally battle fortresses. That is actually what they are. Flying battle fortresses that the Scourge has access to. To our knowledge, only 2 of them have ever actually been fallen. One was defeated by Mechanomes. One was defeated by empowered Drakari. Well, Noxaramus would clearly be a Black Citadel, then. I'm not sure, actually, Prog. I mean, I know WoW still has the lion's share of the market share, which is funny. Even as their subscriptions plummet, they're still actually the most popular MMO. I don't even know what to say to that, Bragwin. Seriously, no idea what to say to that. I know FF14 has been quite successful. I'm trying to think. I don't know how well Guild Wars 2 has been doing economically. I am very looking forward to Legion. Legion is the bomb. Everything I've heard about Legion has been phenomenal. I have been having to bite my tongue to not talk about all of the Legion awesomeness that's coming forth, because I know a lot of my viewers are trying to do what I was doing and then gave up on, aka not spoiling anything about Legion. So anyways, Necropoli. I actually did some looking into this, and I couldn't find any specific information on how they float. We do know that they are magically empowered. That's not technology, that's not magic technology. That is pure magic that's keeping them airborne like that. We also know some of them literally have the things that they had in Warcraft 3. You know how in Warcraft 3 a few of them could actually shoot at nearby enemies? So some of these do have, for lack of a better term, turrets. You know, the ability to attack nearby defenders. But not all of them do. I try not to, Salty. It takes a while for them to regrow. Yeah. That's about all we know about those. There's not a lot of information. And now to spoil everything about the Burning Legion. And the final thing is the cow walked up and says, "Oh my god, your face is like a baboon!" And those are the Legion spoilers. So I hope you enjoy. Okay, Isidorius has been cooperative, but I really needed time alone with the Lich. The Lich has spoken, Xylom. The High Priests of Enkilah hold the secret to entering Naxanar. Go to the Spire of Blood, the Spire of Pain, and the Spire of Decay. Slay each of the priests. Return when you've obtained their scrolls.
Tomorrow is another day.
You're right, I forgot to do the EA thing. We here at Blizzard believe that our viewers, our players, should have an equal share of things that are incredibly awesome, that make our games really, really fun and entertaining to play, but also as a way to innovate the next level of gaming MMOs. We want to make sure that we also have total random stupid crap that all our viewers hate. We think that this will ensure that people will continue to complain about Blizzard for the next several years to come, and will ensure that Blizzard will never leave the minds of our viewers. Or players. I keep saying viewers. That's an interesting question, Toby. What is cloud gaming? We personally think that cloud gaming is best described as mobile gaming. Something we should do in order to advance our market share in the world. I'm going to stop. They talk about Destiny, but they never actually mean it literally in Warcraft. There are, I think, 2 groups of people who have 100% accurate predictions about the future. Everyone else can, predict the future, but it's really more like an inclination of what might happen. And furthermore, kind of as an aside there, sometimes those predictions come from spirits, elemental spirits or ancestral spirits. Actually, fun fact, we will see one of those predictions of the future that is a fundamental lie that is shown because the elemental spirit has an agenda, and so they tell the mortals fake things so the mortals will do exactly what they want them to, right? Oh, I don't know, Darker. Are we counting all the runs I did when I was actually raiding the place? Because that would bring the number easily up into the hundreds. What are the Titans? They are an artificial creature, a more lithophoric style, who happen to be extremely advanced, very, very technologically advanced, and they have the ability to design sentient and sapient life. And I think that's a good summary. Oh, Little Billy, Destiny is the best game ever. There's no game that is better than Destiny. It's the best Borderlands simulator I've ever played. Warlock, Toby, I've already I'm sorry, you probably weren't here for that. I've actually gotten that question like 3 times already in this lore run. Yeah, no, Warlock is easily the strongest class in lore by a big margin. Yeah. Hang on, I don't have my dashboard up. Well, thank you, Matthias. I appreciate the donation. Would you like to put it towards one of our incentives right now? Which is which transmog suit we're going to be wearing. It's the numbers that Toby just referenced. People have tried to actually make me play Destiny, but I don't have a PS4. So unless you're willing to fork over a PS4 for me, that's not happening. Which means it's not happening, basically. And yeah, Mage is probably second. The rest are pretty balanced in lore, relatively speaking. Thrall was an exceptionally powerful shaman, though. He's asking about the classes in general. Any given shaman is not necessarily stronger than any given druid, is not necessarily stronger than any given death knight, is not necessarily stronger than... You get my point. The only class which really heads above shoulders, goes above all the rest of the classes, is Warlock in lore. I don't actually want a PS4, so I'm okay with not having one.
You need something.
I like this, by the way. Taking your time, are you? I don't know how much longer I can keep this lich restrained. Excellent work. Now for one last bit of information. I served Arthas in death because I had no choice. He had control over my will and my body. The Cult of the Damned serves Arthas in life willingly. Now that we know the words of power to enter Noxnar, we can put an end to the cultist blight. Go to Inkala and look for the teleportation orb. Work your way up to the top. Arm yourselves. What courage you have. We might not make it out of this one alive.
We will ravage this land.
The most powerful racial leader? Oh, shoot. I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to think about that one. Very, very carefully, Dakoida. Very carefully. We haven't talked about Thessarian too much, other than the stuff we've already talked about. So I guess yes? I don't know. I assumed he meant in terms of personal power. Gul'dan is ridiculously strong, but there's a very terrible price he pays for that strength. In addition to the fact that his type of strength is not really suited towards one-on-one combat. I feel like I've said this like 5 times already. Gul'dan is what we call a destroyer, not a warrior. Lorthamar is basically a ranger. So, a druid fighter, effectively. Politically powerful? Moira. Seriously. Moira. That's a tough one. I don't fully understand your question, Mind Blast, but we will be seeing Thessarian in Anderhall, yes. And... oh, I'm stupid. I forgot about the second teleporter. Like, where the hell? Here we go. Up! There we go. Hey, Thessarian.
Make it quick.
Let's do this. It's now or never.
Suffer well.
I like this. 2 Death Knights. One clad in the darkest armor of death. The other clad in Skittles. Oh crap, it's Counselor Talbot! What a freaking shock! Sorry, obviously I kind of already gave it away that it was him. Oh, hey, it's the Lich King, too.
My liege, the infiltration and control of the Alliance power structure by our cultists is well underway. Bestowed upon me has granted me great mental influence over human minds. I bear these offerings as proof of my progress.
Larissa!
By the way, that's Thessarian's sister right there.
What have you done to my sister? You motherless elf scum!
And the general, of course. Not that we care about him.
Now this is a surprise, Thessarian. I hadn't heard from Mograine or the other Death Knights for months. You've come to rejoin the Scourge, I take it.
Note the intentional taunt there.
I would sooner slit my own throat. You would pay for what you did to your own men, Arthas. For what you did to me! I swear it!
Allow me to take care of the intruders, Lord. I will feed their entrails to the maggots.
Do not fail me, Sandlane. Return to Icecrown with this fool's head, or do not bother to return.
Yes, my lord.
Naxanar was merely a setback.
What happened to me?
Thessarian, you're alive!
My head won't stop spinning.
That was terrible voice acting on Larissa's part.
You're alright.
I thought you were dead.
Well, I am.
I cannot return home with you just yet, Larissa. I am not quite done with this scourge.
Don't leave me again. You want to fight for your country, but they don't even want you. They sent you here to die.
You might be right, sister. My obligations to my land and king have been fulfilled. But there is something that I still owe to myself.
I know that look in your eye. I'm not going to be able to talk you out of this. If you die on me again...
That's Syndragosa's voice actress, by the way.
Do not worry, Larissa. I will come back to you when I'm done. Nothing in the world will stop me from coming home to the only family that I have left.
Don't say things like that.
What?
You did well, Xylom. I was hoping to leave my sister out of this, but thanks to you, she's alive and well. My obligations to king and army have been fulfilled. It's clear I am not welcome amongst comrades anymore. And he's gone. But yeah, they got this one woman actress. I don't know her name off the top of my head. And she's terrible. I mean, I mean no offense, but she is genuinely a bad actress, in addition to the fact that she has this unpleasant voice. So, yeah, she'll be voicing General Abendus as well, and just completely ruining the character. And of course, she voices Syndragosa. She voiced Svala Marograve back in, or Sorrowgrave, excuse me. Yeah, she does pretty much half the female voices in Northrend. It's just, oh my god, why? Okay, so anyways.
You need something.
I will have to go my own way, fighting no wars but my own, following no orders but my heart. You know, you could join the Ebon Blade.
Another time.
Just saying. Well, unfortunately, Mind Blast, that particular plot thread has not been continued, no. So, I do not exactly know what has happened to Thessarian, and I do not know what has happened to Kultira. Both of those plot threads have just been left dangling ever since. Whoops, that's a Horde Town. Fortunately, they get some better female voice actresses in the future. Thank God. Yeah, she does voice Zayella, but she actually fits Zayella. It's like the only... They looked at her voice actor like, you know, let's at least use her for something she's good at. We don't want to know, little Billy. That would be Kultira who had that happen to him, Darker. But regardless of that little tidbit, we really don't actually know what's happening. Alright, so, do you want to do the Tuskar quest? Or the Dita quest? Because those are our next stops. Tuskar, Dita. Some of you are probably like, what the heck is Dita? That would be the Druids for the ethical treatment of animals. Now I wait for Twitch lag. I'm hearing Dita. I'm hearing Dita. So, this is the Dita camp. Oh, hang on. I apparently got the acronym wrong. What's the H stand for? Excuse me. What's the H stand for? So we could see that there's a bunch of hippies here. Literally, druids. And night elves, primarily. There's a couple of Tauren here. And of course, there's even a dryad here. So for those of you not aware, Hemet Nessingwary is in basically every expansion. Technically isn't in Cataclysm. It's the only one he wasn't in. I say technically because of the rework. Oh my god. I don't even know how to answer that, Shiryu. That's very strange. Words. The, Hemet back in Vanilla, he had an entire quest train in Stranglethorn Valley that was all about killing all the animals. And then he had a quest chain in Agrand, which we did on camera, which was like, killing all the animals. Now, as I pointed out, there's some ethics to discuss about hunting. And we actually, humane, that's what the H stands for. We actually discussed one of the reasons why the whole situation was a little more muddled than it sounded. I argued that he wasn't really evil to me personally, but I could not argue that he was not, that he was a good guy. It's just, you know, he was his own thing. By the way, you might be wondering, why are you red now? I'm covered in animal blood. You might be like, what does that do? As you can see, they attack and try to kill me for being an animal murderer. Calf, killer, murderer, butcher. You think us fools? You're covered in animal blood. So you actually can't interact with them. You have to go wash the blood off. Which makes a blood pool, which you can then fish from, believe it or not. It's messed up. Anyway, so now that we're back to being... No, look, the blood's gone. We're not actually evil, I swear. See, everything's good. I sure hope so, Toby, but I doubt it. Anyways, the point is that these guys are like, Hemet, he's just this horrible, disgusting creature. How disgusting? Well, this is a monument to Hemet Nessingwary. That's how much they hate him. They have this burning effigy of him. And I quote, "Wanted, Hemet Nessingwary for crimes against nature." This is an artist rendition of the Extinctionator in his natural habitat, the burning hellfire of the underworld. Last wildlife holocaust location, Nagrand, Outland. Also known as the Great Game Hunter, the Butcher of Badlands, the Stranglethorn Ripper, Old Man Death, Hemet, Nessie, Old Dirty D, Father of the Bounty, and the Extinctionator. Dun 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 dun. By the way, yes, Hemet is actually in Northrend as well, but we won't be seeing him for a while. So let's see what these Dita guys are all about, shall we?
How may I help?
The demon has many names, and each name has a special meaning at one time or another. While the details are sometimes insignificant, the end result is always the same. Death. But now, nearly 50 years after it all began, the details will find the devil and lead to his downfall. This time we have him. There will be no escape for Nessingwary. Northrend will be the battleground for our war. The hunter will become the hunted.
Till next we meet.
Is your cause righteous, your heart true? If so, you are welcome here, among the druids for the ethical and humane treatment of animals. So long as you do not veer down the dark path of depravity and harm the animals that have allowed us to coexist in their world, Dita will consider you an ally. By the way, I try not to get too much into political stuff, but screw PETA. No, seriously. PETA has done some really extremist, horrible things, and they have gone way overboard. I'm totally okay with taking care of animals and not torturing and humiliating them, but PETA is just way too far on the opposite side. So I enjoy these quests because it really just, it's a nice way to mock the hell out of them, and I get a good laugh out of it. Ahem. Whether they be treasure seekers or bloodthirsty hunters of the waste, any being that supports Nessingwary and dares strike at our beloved wildlife shall be considered enemy of Dita. Should you slay these filthy Nessingwary sympathizers, bring me proof. And he wants us to cut off the ears of people.
Goddess, watch over you.
As an aside, by the way, just to make this situation a little bit more humorous, this character I'm on right now, this Death Knight, Worgen, is the one who did the Nessingwary quests in Outland. Remember, we didn't do those on our Blood Elf. We only did those on our Worgen here.
What brings you here?
Ah, they're majestic beasts, aren't they? He points towards the mammoths. With each passing day, their numbers diminish. Demons that call themselves hunters slay the beasts for sport and riches. It's the whimpers that drive me to madness. You can hear them, carried by the wind. The mammoth calves, trapped in the hunters' vile traps, call out to us, "Take the hammer, smash the calves!" Or smash the traps, free the calves.
Good luck, friend.
Okay, that's actually kind of cool. I'm okay with freeing that. What about you? What do you want me to do?
Well met.
To the west of us, you'll find Lake Kumia. It is, as far as we know, the only freshwater giant clam habitat in the world. Of course, Nessingwary's lackeys are now using the lake as a giant pearl farm. They must be stopped. A lesson must be taught. Go and kill the people there.
Goodbye.
West of here on the high bluffs of Lake Kumia roams a despicable being known as Nadar, the self-proclaimed Lord of Rhinos, hunts the waste for the injured or young. Rhinos unable to defend themselves against his cowardly attacks. To add insult to injury, Nadar has raised a rhino of his own. It's a rare thing that Dita would ever call for the death of an animal, but Nadar's tainted rhino must be disposed of. Just south of us, the caribou used to roam peacefully, freely. Then Nessingwary showed up and everything changed. Now the caribou are in a perpetual state of frenzy, always in a panic, stalked by the hunters and trapped in the field. Nessingwary's executioners are unfit for death. They must feel the torture they have put the caribou through. Take this pile of furs and lay it on the traps. Watch as the hunters are caught in their own traps. Okay, so this is a good time to point out that Nessingwary has nothing to do with any of this crap. One of the things we pointed out is, for all his faults, Nessingwary isn't just in it for killing animals or selling their furs or anything like that. He's in it for the glory of the hunt, for challenging himself against the biggest and the strongest. Going after this tiny area with weak calves and caribou and just otherwise creatures that are just not even worth his time at all. No, this is not something that Nessingwary would do, and as it happens, this is not something Nessingwary does do. Because we know where Nessingwary is. He's up here in Sholazar fighting real challenges. But, as pointed out... Oh, come on. Do I have to actually be on the damn thing? So this is great. Stupid beast. Ah! Whoops, this one. I hope we get some good quotes here. Ah, jackpot! Wait, did someone ask about 25 again? Oh, Kranz Franz asked about it. I completely missed that question, sorry. Hey, I'm broken. Come on, say something good. One of them says something about how he'll get like a dinner set of knives or whatever if he turns in 20 more elk hides or something like that. Which again, not Nessingwary. Yeah, that would really hurt, given the size of these things especially. Yeah, he literally goes after a freaking... Oh, here it is! This is the last one I need for that set of Nessingwary steak knives! Ugh! The beast... Yeah, I've seen that one too. There it is! It's a miracle! The beast skinned itself! Ugh. Idiots. You know what I think this is? This is corporatized hunting. In fact, that's literally what this is, now that I think about it. I mean... I may or may not agree with hunting. I try very hard to keep my opinions to myself about political matters and whatnot. But whether I do or not, I absolutely disagree with this concept. What these guys are doing. And again, as I've pointed out many times, this is not what Hemet himself does. In fact, Hemet would be probably the first person to tell you, now why would you go over-hunt? All you're going to do is get rid of all the prey. You know, never mind the other ramifications of doing so. Also keeping in mind that the way these people are hunting is very contrary to the way Hemet hunts. Hemet wants to get out there and fight them man to man. Again, he's in it for the challenge, the struggle of the hunt to actually show, you know, and enjoy the experience. These guys are setting traps from afar and waiting patiently to ensure that the thing runs into them, and then going in and collecting the loot afterwards. That's not Nessingwary, you know? Probably Takoida. And by probably, I mean, I'd put like a 90% certainty on that. And this guy is currently dead. So we'll move on to the next step. Killing people. By the way, the actual name for a lot of these enemies is Loot Crazed. Loot Crazed Hunter, Loot Crazed Divers. This is another thing that Nessingwary would not do. Why would he go and try to basically strip mine a oh damn it, Mind Blast. Why would they go and try to strip mine a clam farm? I mean, literally the only reason to do that is for the pearls. And again, and these guys, by the way, just to really emphasize this, they're not just mining the pearls. They're killing the clams to mine the pearls. Now, reality check. I don't actually know if you can get the pearls out of a clam without killing it, so maybe that's not possible. But the fact is, these guys, whether that's true or not, these guys are actively killing them just to get to the pearls and making sure there will be no supply of pearls in the future. Because they're dumb. Oh my god. Now, I will admit one thing, guys. I like the Borean Tundra. I know that's kind of an unpopular opinion. But, I will say this. There is one thing, literally one thing, that I do not like about the Borean Tundra, and it's the music. I really don't like the music here or in Dragonblight. Both of them bother me a bit. Gotcha, Psychotic. So apparently you have to kill them anyways. Oh, I'm done killing them. Yes, I am killing poaching divers for their ears. Let's see if that rhino has respawned yet. Now I'm going to go kill a rhinoceros. For the Dita! Oh, there he is. Yeah, no kidding, Total. Alright. Oh, I have some animal blood on me. Damn. Well, let's fix that really quick. Sploosh. There we go. Take a quick bath. Why don't we free some calves? Or crush some calves? I think crushing calves is the right idea. Hang on. So, here's just a weird random question for you guys. Let's say you were approached by a group of druids. Let's assume for a moment that druids are a real thing. And they said, we want you to go kill people and cut off their ears because they're attacking animals. What would you say to that? Oh yeah, this is another very not Nesingwary thing. Leaving traps is not a Nesingwary thing to begin with. Leaving traps for calves? Going after calves? Why would he ever bother doing that? Of course they did, Lurker. We want you to go kill humans and slice off their ears. Okay, fine. If druids were real and awesome. Now, the funny thing is, I'm totally okay with going after these crazed loot-crazed hunters. I really am. These people are a menace. These people are genuinely a problem. They are actively trying to destroy local wildlife for nothing more than greed. I try not to give my opinion, but I tend to be okay with hunting if it serves a purpose or if it is done in a particular style, right? So again, I mean, I eat meat. I eat meat, okay? There you go. Bam. There's my opinion in a nutshell. And unlike some people, I understand the price of eating meat. I know what that is. I've been to slaughterhouses. I get it. But that's like the in-between concept there. These people are running around extinguishing local animals, going after calves, killing everything in an entire water pool so it won't be able to repopulate, just wantonly over-hunting, harvesting, overdoing it. It's greed. It's freaking greed. When it gets to this level and this extent, no. So again, my overall point here is these people need to be stopped. But Dita, well, they're just, yeah. Now, fun little factoid here. Really quick. You might be like, well, why is this even relevant, Arsh? Well, originally, the intention was for Dita to have you go after innocent hunters. Hunters who pretty much were just the same situation that you were in back in Vanilla and back in BC. Apparently, there was some concerns about the political ramifications of that, given Dita's obvious parallel to PETA. And so, in order to cover their backs, basically, they decided to go ahead and make it so that Dita was basically in the right here. They may be extreme, and they may also be wrong about Nesingwary, but you know, it's meant to be a little more in good fun rather than, oh, they totally have a point kind of a thing or whatever. Or you're going after innocent people, because we're not actually going after innocent people. These people are monsters, you know? So, just a little bit of a reality of how real-life politics will affect in-game writing. Not the first example, and not the last either. By the way, just to really emphasize how crazed these people are, there have been two of these creatures who have said things here. That two of these people have said things. One of them was, I wonder what Nesingwary will give for your hide. Now, granted, I'm a Worgen, but they will say that to a human. They will say that to an orc. They will say that to a blood elf. What would Nesingwary give me for your hide? Another thing they say, I'm sure old Hemmick can do something with your bones. Yeah, so let's go ahead and get this animal blood off us, because I have an AoE attack, and I didn't actually mean to kill that animal. You do Earth Mother's work, Xylom, but we do not revel in this victory for too long. We have discovered the hiding place of the Trapper leader. Near the southern end of this bluff is where you'll find the treacherous leader of the Caribou Trappers. She is a savage like no other, making a mockery of the carcasses of the animals, drinking from their blood and howling to the moons. Find this murderer, end her worthless existence. Prepare yourself properly, Xylom. Karen has indulged in the riches that Nessingwary has lavished upon her. Right.
Can I assist you?
So I got your people ears. These will hang around my neck. Let them be a message. Let them hear our message, and let these ears be the vessel that carries our truth. You remember how I made a big deal about how gross the Vrykul were for all their, I'll eat your heart, I'll make your intestines into a necklace thing. So this druid, this polite, peaceful druid, it looks like that, is going to wear a necklace of ears.
Be careful.
Although you have acted valiantly in freeing the trapped calves, many of them will still die. You see, without a caretaker, these calves must fend for themselves in the wild. But there is a way. Hope yet remains. North of here in the Mammoth Fields, you will find Kunok, the behemoth. A mammoth is wise, and he is ancient. Take this mammoth orphan and present it to Kunok. He will know what to do.
Alone light your path.
At least now the rhino will know peace of death. Thank you.
Greetings, traveler.
Now let's see how their nerve holds up when they see what happened to their companions. I have just gotten word from Leandra that the mercenaries hired by Nessingwary are moving goods off the beach onto the main Nessingwary shipping vessel. No doubt they plan to make a fortune from their murderous trade. She has asked we send assistance to the abandoned reach directly south of here. Make haste.
May the eternal sun shine upon thee.
Magister, the only one I could toss at you is I'm an idiot. Where's my calf? Is FF14. Lost my calf. Hang on. Hey, you.
Greetings.
No, I need the... Wait, do I have... Is it on me? Let's go into bandit. Just make it easy.
I am honored.
Yeah, by the way, this is a repeatable to get fresh ears for his necklace.
Ishnu Allah.
Just to... They're in Zuldrak, Tekoida, and we will be seeing quite a bit of them. They will have an entire zone
Till next we meet.
dedicated to it. There's my calf. Come here, boy. Come here, boy. Who's a good calf? Wow, who's a slow calf? Holy crap. Come on. No? Okay. Let's try just running. Can he go at walking speed? Kind of. Okay, we'll just walk our way up there. That's okay. I'm okay with that too. There's a calf running along, taking his sweet time. God, come on! You want to be food in addition to an orphan? Let's go! Actually, I don't know if you can eat elephant. That's a good point, Schmite Elf. You can eat anything in Azeroth. Soon I shall eat elephant. Yes. Yes. Nom, nom. Wait, this is a baby elephant. I don't want to eat that. That's just gross. Instead, I shall eat adult elephant. Nom, 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 nom. Tasty. Nom, 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 nom. And meanwhile, I just lost every single one of my vegetarian viewers. Okay, I don't remember where this turn-in is. I thought it was over here. Yeah, no, that's a good point, Charlord. Seriously, though, I thought he was up here. No? No. I'm just gonna look this one up. Oh, damn it, I must have just missed him. Yes, Wowhead will have the answer. We could take a moment to admire my incredible outfit. Oh, yes. I am ready to fight the Scourge, the Blue Dragonflight, the Trolls, the Vrykul, the minions of Yogg Saron. Yeah, there's actually quite a few things we're fighting up here, but I will fight them all. Up there he is. And I will fight them all looking fabulous. I can't do the voice. Sorry, guys. Hey, buddy. Your name has been heard in the Whistling Winds. How are you talking to me? You cannot defeat the being responsible for the slaughter of my kind by yourself. Yes, I can. The mammoths will help you. Venture forth to the plain. Find a mammoth bull. He will allow you to mount him and control his movements. Ride upon his back and find Caw. Destroy Caw's armies and take from Caw his beloved war halberd. So, we have the same question we had with that warg back in the fjord. Is this a Loa? Or can mammoths talk? Both of those questions have an interesting answer to them. The time has come. The moment is at hand. I personally do think Loa, especially since the Druids obviously had interactions with him, and therefore, you know, knew of him as a person, so to speak, knew he would be able to help you with this, etc., etc. You challenge Caw, destroyer of mammoths. Face me and fear my thunder. Die. And he's dead, because vehicles are scaled by item level now. That didn't used to be a thing. I suppose that's another option. It is also entirely possible that you are just delusional from hanging around the druids. Hey, fanboy.
Hello.
What happened? Is this what I think it is? Smashing! Outstanding! Outstanding! Another of Nessingwary's lackeys has been brought to justice. Yes. Good. But for now, we must defeat the most deadly... Okay, so you may not recognize all these characters. Pretty much all of these named individuals are people who have been working alongside or with Nessingwary, either in Outland or in Stranglethorn Vale. And he's not... Yeah, no, he's not. Okay, she, I should say. Strewn across this beach amidst the flotsam and jetsam are crates and sacks of animal parts. It would seem Nessingwary is in cahoots with the North Sea freebooters. Those dirty, dirty pirates are transporting the goods that Nessingwary's murderous lackeys gather offshore. No doubt they will end up in homes on the backs of wealthy, unscrupulous individuals across Azeroth. This will not happen. Not on our watch. Bring me the shipments. They'll never have them. Okay. That you really? I'm a Death Knight, and you're a guy carrying a sack. Really, dude? Why am I still skinning their ears? Stop skinning their ears. It's kind of creepy. Hey, Spirit Blade. It's gonna cost you, Grey Wolf. I'd rather finish the quests first. So let's see, what's in these shipments? Let's see, skins, furs, bones, anything else of value that might come from an animal. Yeah. Well, honestly, even though this is clearly a joke quest line, and those things exist in WoW, by the way, the vast majority of WoW is actually quite serious, as I've probably outlined. But every now and again, there's just a joke quest chain or a joke quest arc or whatever. For example, despite the seriousness of the situation, pretty much all of Oldham's major quest chain is going to be humorous, not serious. So, this is another one of those. Personally, I do take this as canon and not, you know, a hallucination thing. But part of the reason I do is because it makes perfect sense to me. Not DITA, although I could see an organization like DITA becoming a thing. But rather, the consequences of Nessingwary's actions. As much as I defend Nessingwary, there is one thing he did very, very wrong. He introduced people to the concept of hunting without actually introducing them to what hunting means. Nessingwary himself, I will argue 1,000 times out of 1,000, is not an evil, greedy, manipulative, horrible person as far as hunters go. However, that does not hold true for his companions. And again, you'll notice, all of these different people we're fighting here are his former companions. It's despicable, really, to anoint oneself as the Clam Master, as if they hold mastery over the creatures of the sea. None may make such claims, except for certain shamans, and a few druids, and the occasional mage, and most of the Naga, and the Kvaldir, and the minions of Neptulon, and the water elements, who are also part of Neptulon's forces, and the old gods. But no one else can claim mastery over a creature over the sea. This Clam Master must be found and slain. He was last seen in the wreckage of a ship that actually happened to be from Kultiras. He didn't popularize hunting as a sport. He popularized hunting, and then other people took it and ran in a different direction with it. Basically, every one of these people we're killing here and going after sees hunting as a means to get rich. And that's it. And that is pretty much the problem there. They have no restraint, no respect, no decency, no ethics, no morality, no nothing. They're here for the money. And that's it. Hammett introduced these people to this without realizing the consequences of what doing so would actually mean. We see this most strongly in the boss of this particular quest arc, which we'll get to in a moment. And as much as it's hilarious, it's also kind of tragic, because it really helps emphasize just how bad this has gotten.
How may I aid you?
Excellent work. We are closing in on Nessingwary. No, you're not.
Go in peace.
I don't mind to spoil this for you guys, but Nessingwary's not even here. I think I already said that, didn't I? He's not here. He's out fighting real stuff. in a Titan-infused life preserve. These idiots are the one who are here. You have done much for the animals of the Borean Tundra. Nessingwary has been beaten back and taught a lesson he will not soon forget. Harold Lane, primary agent responsible for the mass slaughter in Nagrand, really? Has been identified as the man in charge of the Nessingwary operations. Find him and kill him.
Elune, light your path.
So, you remember Harold Lane? If you don't, I will remind you, or if you didn't watch our earlier section. I made it a point, however, to point out Harold because of this particular quest. Looks like he's actually dead right now, thanks to other players. Thanks, other players! Here, I'll kill a loot-crazed hunter while I try. There we go. So Harold Lane was the human at Nessingwary's camp in Blood Elf. He was the guy who was faking illness to get you to go gather hides and whatnot for him. Because, again, for him it was all about loot, 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 loot. It was all he actually cared about. Again, this is why I say this is corporatized hunting. Because he's not actually interested in... He's not even interested in making money off of this. He's interested in making money off of this now at the expense of the then, you know, expense of tomorrow. So here's Harold Lane. He's like, oh, I'll take you down. So he sets traps. Of course he does. He's a hunter. He's called the Fur Baron. But the thing I find most amusing about him, if I could trigger it, maybe if I just run away? No. Come on, do it. Do it. There we go. Here we go. He starts throwing pelts at us. Now, again, this is silly, but it once again emphasizes just how ridiculous this situation has gotten. He is attacking us by throwing bear pelts at us. Seriously, that's a thing that's happening. Hi, I'm a Death Knight. Nice to meet you. That's a capital D, capital K. Why don't you just stay there while I choke you to death for a second? And once again, Nessingwary is not even here. This was all Harold. This was never, Nessingwary will give me money for this. Nessingwary, again, had absolutely nothing to do with any of this.
Hello.
Alas, Nessingwary is gone. Perhaps he was never here to begin with. The demon is a slippery one. But when his days are numbered, we will find him. And we will find him. We will find him. We will
Goddess,
find him.
watch over you.
We will find him. So that's Dita. So let's talk a little bit more about the Tuskar. So the Tuskar actually do practice magic, as most races do. To some extent or another. The funny thing is, though, they're basically half shamans. They specifically practice ancestral magic.
Your company is welcome.
Your terrible mind blast. You are a welcome sight, Death Knight. I don't think I've ever heard that sentence before. You're a welcome sight, Death Knight. My name is Etaruk, and I used to be a craftsman here at the Cold Rock Quarry. My companions and I were preparing a new set of statues for their last rites when we saw mysterious blue platforms flying over the plateau. When they landed, the mages they carried swarmed the quarry, murdered my fellows, and plundered it. If we don't stop them, they'll destroy our statues and make off with our artifacts. Will you help me defeat the invaders?
Good hunting.
A distant voice echoes in your head as you regard the stone statue. Do not be alarmed, stranger. I am Elder I don't know how to pronounce that. An ancient ancestor of the Tuskar people, a skilled craftsman in my own time, and guardian of this quarry for century. The quarry has been overrun, leaving many statues unfinished, while the ancestor spirits wander the world. Will you aid me in fighting this wrong? At first I must know the names of the wandering. Look for the marker near their statues. So this is kind of leading into the Blue Dragon quest arc, since these are mage hunters we're fighting here, and members of the Barrel group. But Here's an odd question for you. What are the blue mages doing here? By blue mages, I mean blue. What are the barrel forces? What are Malygos' forces doing here? What possible interest would they have in this quarry where people practice shamanistic magic? Anyone? Okay, that's Elder Sagani. Notice that they've actually brought out some of their, I forget what these are called, but they're blue floating disc things here. Because, you know. Possible Braglin, that's a good explanation. It's also possible there's a ley line around here and we just stop them before they get around to it. Although that doesn't quite explain why they're actually mining at the stones containing the Elder Spirits. Like they're literally mining. Literally. That's the thing they're doing. And they're also called treasure hunters. Now, I have a much more mundane theory as to what they're doing here. And it's one of two things. Either, A, this is a group that was ordered by Malygos to go secure funds and resources in order to fund his war against the, magic. Or B, this is a rogue group under Malygos' group who wanted to make themselves richer and better well off by going after yada yada yada. In other words, they're not here with the explicit permission of Malygos. That's what I've thought for all this time, but I have to be completely honest, I still don't know if that's true or not, because we don't actually know what they want here. That's never something we've actually found out definitively. They could be mining the spirits, that's also valid. There are several reasons why they could be here. I just don't know why they're here. It just seems like an odd move for them to make, especially since they're kind of busy right now. And the Tuskar have literally done nothing to provoke them.
What troubles you?
Yeah, Raskar. Now that these... Whoops, I'm standing in a fire. I'm a terrible raider. Now these strange mages know that the people of Cascala and their allies will not give up the quarry so easily. We must maintain our efforts and defeat them completely. My brothers in Cascala have also come under attack and will not be able to support us. But with your help, we can overcome these pillagers. I'm sure you've seen the blue and white platforms hovering over the quarry. They're the transportation the mage hunters use to land their forces here. Now they're loading them up with our artifacts and fragments of our statues. We must stop them before they leave the quarry. The small creatures digging carry explosives. Take them and use them to destroy the 3 floating platforms.
Stay warm.
Well done, Xylam. With the names... Which achievement, Permeus? With the names of the Wandering Elders, we can continue the ceremonies disrupting each attack. However, before the Elder Spirits can be led to their stones, we must calm the spirits of the murdered craftsman and shaman. Otherwise, the ancestors may never hear the ceremony's call. In the attack on the quarry, the shaman and the craftsmen working here were slain. The violence threw the spirit world into utter chaos and will be unable to guide the ancestors home unless we can soothe them. The aggressors themselves pay no heed, but their companions, the barrel hounds, sense the spirits and hold them in thrall. Kill the hounds! Use the energy left behind to break the imprisonment. I can do that. I can do that. Da, 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 da. So, like I said, my thought has always been this is a more mundane resource gathering trip. This is a quarry, after all. You'd be surprised how few mages can withstand an axe to the face, to quote it. See this mage? Yeah, that didn't help him out that much, casting that spell at me. I was gonna say, Medivh was literally killed by a sword. Oh, I'm already maxed out. I'm kind of hesitating. Why don't we talk a little bit about the blue dragonflight while we're here, shall we? How's that sound? So, first thing I want to say is recently there has been the most unthinkable of things that has happened in Blizzard's history. A retcon. Dun dun dun. This is where you're supposed to act really, really shocked that it's retconned. So if you could do that, that'd be really awesome. Thanks. So retcon. Oh my God, a retcon. I can't tell what I think of this retcon. It's kind of a weird one. Once upon a time, in the long, long ago, long before the time of the Dark Trolls and when the Troll Empire was still just a glimmer in everyone's eye, was the so-called Age of the Dragons. The Age of the Dragons actually lasted all the way up from basically the beginnings of the world, up until the events just before the War of the Ancients, specifically. Thank you, Bragwin, thank you. I was hoping for Kermit's, flail thing that he does, but anyways. So, retcons. Once upon a time, we all understood that
Shalashka.
the great and powerful Galakron was the original Proto-Drake, and all the aspects were crass-pulled off after his style. Well, that's been retconned. In truth, hi Reach. In truth, it was I who was betrayed. Or wait, sorry. In truth, Galakron was the first of an experiment on behalf of the Watchers of the Titans. You see, the Proto-Drakes had just started reaching the point where they had actual intelligence. The ability to communicate, the ability to talk with each other. They were very, very primitive, but they did have those beginning forms of what would eventually become society and culture. The Titanic Watchers said, "Aha! With this brilliant thing, we will be able to, Of course I do, Permeus. I got it back during the pre-event. With this ability, we'll be able to edit and manipulate and change these creatures and make them into the new, amazing, powerful creatures that shall rule over this land as the best possible enforcers of the Titans' will." There were 3 Titanic Watchers who were working on this in particular. We don't know who the other 2 were, but we do know who one of them was. Tyr. Watcher Tyr, who, if you've been paying attention, I've actually already mentioned him. So Watcher Tyr screwed up something real bad. We don't actually know what. According to the original writer, he wanted it to be that the Watcher Tyr was actually... I'm recovering from a pretty bad stomach bug flu, brother, that I had last week. So he wanted to... Damn it. The original writer wanted it to be that Watcher Tyr had been using fell energies in order to try and influence him and make him into this new, incredibly powerful being. Now that he was then told by Blizzard he couldn't actually specifically call it fell, though he was allowed to make it act like fell energy in every way. And then later on, other people said that they believed it wasn't fell, so who frickin' knows? It doesn't matter. The point is, Watcher Tyr was infusing energies into Galakron, which turned him into a nightmare beast of hellish doom. He started rampaging around, killing other Proto-Drakes' food, and then killing other Proto-Drakes. And then he would actually raise up those dead Proto-Drakes as what are called not-livings, aka Type 1 undead Proto-Drakes, okay? This is actually the first instance of undeath in the history of Azeroth, actually. So those Proto-Drakes were basically completely subservient to him. No one could do anything against him, except for a small group of Proto-Drakes who, by pure luck and happenstance, kind of stumbled into each other. A couple of them knew each other. For example, there was this one Proto-Drake called Alexstrasza, with kind of a red coat. And there was another Proto-Drake called Izara, who was like her sister, I want to say. And there was also this Proto-Drake named Malygos, who was good friends with another Proto-Drake called Naltharion. And you probably already see where this is going. Nazdormu was the intelligent Proto-Drake of the group. Now, there was this whole series of adventures, which I'm not going to bore you with. Let's go ahead and turn to these quests, then I'll talk about more. So remember, original aspects. The mage hunters won't find it easy to plunder our quarry and steal our artifacts as they'd imagined. With your help, we'll win back the quarry and set things right again. The leader of the mage hunter forces is a fearsome creature called Curator Insidious. My people have hunted the beasts of this sea and land for countless generations, but I've never seen anything like this Curator before. He's landed one of those flying discs on the upper rim and oversees the operation. I can only believe the ancestors themselves sent you to rescue me, and I hope you will help to drive all the mage hunters from this quarry once and for all.
Visit again when you can.
I can sense the upheaval in the spirit world beginning to calm. You've done well. The spirits of the ancestors are fortunate to have your help in this time of need. With the spirits of the murdered craftsman and shaman at rest, the way is clear for us to complete the ceremonies, interrupted by the attack. You must perform a role traditionally reserved for Tuskar shaman, and you must possess all the necessary items. There's no time to craft new ones, so you'll need to scour the quarry for those victims of the attack. Handle these objects with care, for some are centuries old. Here we go. Anyways, so back to the dragons for a second. Watcher Tyr ended up assisting the would-be eventually aspects in defeating Galakron and killing him horribly. It actually took a great deal of effort on all of their behalfs in order to defeat him. Whatever was going on with Galakron, he was getting larger and stronger and more insidiously powerful day by day. Now, after all of that effort was done, the Watcher decided to make a deal with them, and he said, "I'll go ahead and have you and your kind empowered with the ability to watch over your brethren in the future. We will craft you into a new type of proto-dragon, one capable of thinking and functioning and feeling for itself. You'll be the breed of a whole new generation of dragons. All that we ask is that you take up a charge, which will become your responsibility until the time comes." And that charge was, of course, the different things that were given to the aspects. So each aspect was then transformed into a dragon, the aspect dragon specifically, as opposed to their original form of a proto-drake. The final change, and this is actually really only the big retcon, was the fact that the first thing that they did was they were instructed by the Watcher to repeat this story to all of others, that Galakron was the original proto-drake that the Titans had crafted them out of. That way no other dragons or other type of creatures would dare to follow in Galakron's footsteps. And that's it. That's the retcon right there, basically. I hope these will suffice, though they are in a sad state. Some of them have survived centuries of use, only to be battered and stolen by barbarians. With your help, the ancestral spirits can now be guided to their rightful homes, the statues lovingly prepared by Kaskala's craftsmen and shaman. The ceremonies for these ancestors were interrupted during the attack on the quarry, and you'll need to complete them. Take the objects with you, and I will recite this chant. Words in a strange language flood into your head, but you have no difficulty recalling them. But yes, that's the retcon. The fact that the whole Galakron was the original proto-drake thing is a lie. That's the retcon. Go. Now, the reason I bring this up here is because it kind of helps to inform certain aspects of the flights in general. We'll be talking about each of the dragon flights as we go throughout these zones, because they are more relevant in Northrend than they are basically anywhere else. But before we get into that, there's one last thing I want to talk about with regards to the Tuskar. I mentioned they have shamanistic magic. This is actually specifically ancestral shamanistic magic. This is probably one of the most interesting examples of it, and something about this just fascinates me. So when their elder honored die, they keep their spirits stick around. Now that in itself is not unusual. The dwarves do that, the Taurens do that, the orcs do that, the Draenei do that. A fairly large number of races have their elder spirits stick around to perform the function of ancestral magic. You know, that's not unusual. What is unusual is rather than just keeping them around as a spirit, what they actually do is they spend a tremendous amount of time, work, and effort on crafting these incredibly precise, powerful... I shouldn't say powerful. They put a lot of work and effort into making these honored vessels, basically. The whole point being that crafting something like this statue that I'm about to put the spirit in is a big deal to these people. This is basically going to be the home of these spirits for the rest of their days. Not as much as they could, Nether. Alexstrasza has a big scene, but not the Red Drakes as a whole, no. So this, as you can see, literally that's where the spirits go. And they are, once they're entombed in here, it helps them to communicate with others. Something about the way they craft these enables them to easily talk with other races, rather than, you know, ancestral spirits, which usually don't innately have the ability to communicate with the living, right? Tauren don't do this, no. Tauren and dwarves both don't do this. They actually have just the spirits, people who are specially skilled and people who are specially well-versed, you know, shamans basically, have the ability to converse with those ancestors and gain power and knowledge as a result of doing so. These guys make these statues as like a go-between. So anybody could walk up to a statue and talk with the ancestors. So for the Tuskarr, if you become an honored elder and they actually craft one of these statues for you, you will be a part of their culture pretty much from now on. And they will be you'll be able to watch over them and take care of them for generations hence. And again, any old person, not the kids could walk up and ask you if what they should do, or if they could learn about the stories of their elders or whatever. Now there is a catch here. There is a consequence of this. These statues also form a bit of a weakness for these Tuskarr spirits. In other words, if something really bad happens to the statue, it also damages the spirit within. To my knowledge, none of these spirits have been destroyed from being within, but theoretically that is something that could happen. So that's the trade-off. A Tauren spirit isn't going to be gotten rid of just because you burn a tree field or whatever. They're still there. They can still interact with the shamans. A Tuskarr can interact with anyone, but if something happens to their stone statue, they're going to be damaged or destroyed as a result. You with me? So that's the trade-off. And it's an interesting trade-off, and I find it fascinating because it really showcases just how important this concept is to them. Now, we know that only a few elders, once in every so many generations, are the ones who actually get put into these statues. So it's not like every Tuskarr keeps going. We also know it is a voluntary process, so only the ones who are willing will do it. But it's interesting to me, the idea of being of accepting that kind of a charge and being willing to be a everyday aspect of the lives of your people for centuries to come. That's just an interesting form of sacrifice, I think, that the Tuskarr make so willingly.
Let us visit for a while.
The curator and his men must have thought the quarry an easy target for their looting, but you've shown them otherwise. I am deeply grateful for your help, and I am certain the ancestors will continue to watch over you. I hope so.
May your nets always be full.
Can you become immune to magic in WoW? Yes, but only temporarily. The only really, really reliable method of doing so that I'm aware is the Breakers. Now, some Blood Elves have become Breakers, but the race that actually perfected breaking technology is the Ogres. But I want to save those discussions for later, because breaking is a fascinating topic. The ancestors have found their statues, and they have you to thank. The craftsmen of Cascala will return to the quarry and ensure that the line of ancestors continues unbroken. For our part, the ancestors will continue to observe you with interest. It seems your path is just beginning. I don't know, probably the latter reach. They're kind of equal. And yeah, to quote, I think that's a fair assessment. So, actually, we're not going to do those quests yet. As we just veer away. We did those. We did those. So yeah, we only actually have 2 little bundles left to do. We're going to do the other bundle first. You know, that might sound like a weird choice, but I feel like since the primary story arc of the Borean Tundra is the Blue Dragonflight, it's best to end on that. Because then we're going to immediately go to Dragonblight, or I just said Dragonblight, of Tundra. Then we're going to immediately go to Dragonblight. And in Dragonblight, the Blue Dragonflight is going to be one of the primary quest arcs there as well. So let's see what the gnomes have been up to. What's going on over here, guys? I like your airstrip. Why can't I have that as a mount? Give it to me. Come back here. I will eat you. Oh, I'm faster than you. Never mind. I don't want that slow thing. I don't remember individuals' reach, other than Myron, of course. So, the gnomes. Whoop, hang on.
Pleased to meet you.
I see Skyhopper finally got around to sending help, and none too soon, might add. Welcome, brother. We need your help. Badly.
Seeing you.
Now that you're here, it's time to tell you the full story of what's going on. Okay, what's going on?
Greetings.
Fine, have a seat. Your chairs are too small for me. In fact, those are beds. So, I'll just stand. When we first got to this frozen hell, General Arios down in Valiant's Keep sent me a group of flying daredevils in a special task. Establish a forward airbase for Alliance operations. The airstrip is the result. Let me tell you, it wasn't easy. What with all the nasty beasts and the ground rock hard from being frozen. But we managed. We did it quickly, too. Anyway, we needed to pump up lots of sand and oil for the machinery. The nearby pools proved to be perfect for that. Some of the sand even had magical properties. Can you say possibilities? Oh, but that's a different tale. So we drained most of the water out and built the pumping station smack dab in the middle. Everything was going swimmingly until one day the main suction pipe got clogged. Okay, that's a rewind. Mind you, this part I learned out later, because I wasn't actually there at the time. When they ratcheted up the suction on the pump, up came pieces of a robot that looked like a gnome. Of course, the fools worked night and day to put it back together without telling us, and this is when we lost communication with the pumping station. After a couple of days of silence, I sent a scouting party out to the platform. They never returned. I sent another group the next day with the same results, and I lost a couple of flying machines on aerial recon. At about this point, I sent someone down south to help, and we hunkered down and prepared for the worst. We turned all of our attentions to making armor, weapons, and robots, so we could head there in full force. When we did, a few days ago, we couldn't believe our eyes. As I was saying, what we saw out there defied explanation. My people were nowhere to be found, but in their place was a veritable army of robots and androids just going about their business. The droids all looked like gnomes, and they said they'd been expecting us. In fact, in their own strange way, they acted like they knew us. We were surrounded and quickly taken to the top of the pumping station. That's when we saw their leader and what he was doing to the surviving gnomes. He called himself Gearmaster Mechazard. When he arrived, he was busy transforming the survivors into mechanical beings. He greeted us warmly and explained he was one of the first gnomes ever to be created by someone called the Grand Architect, a Titan keeper from the halls of the fabled Ulduar. As an aside, he was actually one of the first made by Mimiron, not actually by Norganon. Apparently, he was the blockage that my team had accidentally sucked up from where he malfunctioned thousands of years ago. It was just our luck we built the pumping station right above him. The station's mechanics had him put back together, bringing him back to life, and now by way of thanks, he was going to doing us a favor by curing all of what he called the Curse of Flesh. According to Mechazard, it's a condition that eventually befalls all creations of the Titans. In other words, we supposedly all start out as robots of some kind, and over thousands of years, slowly turn into fleshy beings. Preposterous, I know. And actually wrong. That's not actually how the Curse of Flesh works. It didn't look like much of a cure to me. And I wasn't about to stand around listening with some crazy robot while he was butchering my people. We did what any sane robot would do. We ran! Well, actually, most of us parachuted off the side of the platform, but you get the picture. Not many of us managed to make it back here, and we're still spread pretty thin from having to deal with everything else, like the Magnetar and the Scourge. And to make things worse, the Horde has set up shop just across the way. And that's where we find ourselves. We can't possibly deal with all of this, and quite frankly, I feel a little bit out of my depth. Jinky knows what needs to be done. You should go see her now. I just hope you'll be able to get her out of this mess with our bodies intact. I don't really aim for a number reach. I can only tell you how much my previous Loreruns have gotten to. Which I'm not going to tell you. So yeah, as you might understand, this is pretty much how... This is the origination of the gnomes. The gnomes used to be a mechanical race that was designed as... Well, I like to think the best parallel to real life is computer programs. These guys. Hey, check it out. It's hard to show, but there you go, there you go. That's what the gnomes were originally built as. Artificial life like that. Now, they were built very small and very intelligent, so they could work in and through and otherwise do the little work necessary to keep the massive Titan machines functioning. Well, like I said, the least successful lore run I've ever had is this one, financially, so far, Reach. Because, anyways. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So, we accidentally brought up one of them. And, yeah, we'll see how this works out. Hey, Deutsch. And welcome back, Azura.
Hey.
The old man sent you to see me, huh? Tell him everything's great going on here. If you listen to the old man, you know we have gnomes out there that are changed. Gear Master Mechazon infected them with something that reversed the curse of flesh. And now they're robots. We have to think of a way to recurse them back to normal. I want you to take this recursive transmatter injection and use it on the corpses of any mechanomes you come across. We're hoping this stuff will cure them, and we'll be able to lock onto them and port them out of there.
You have a great day now.
Actually, yeah, gnomes are titanic nanobots. Sorta.
Hi, how are you?
There's spare parts strewn all over the east in the scalding pools, the geyser fields, heck, probably even up the pumping station. Bring me a whole bunch. Maybe I'll be able to get this teleporter working. Not to mention getting the incoming transmitter ports aligned. I'd hate to need to see another accident.
Very good.
Nah, I like people constantly asking, Reach. This is the weirdest thing, Death Knight. Actually, we'll read that quest later, because we're not actually doing that quest yet.
Good day to you.
Those dirty, stinking snowballs. They stole all of my supplies. What's a snowball, you ask? It's like a kobold, except they serve the Magnetar. Kind of take care of them. I know, weird, right? Anywho, want to help me out? I know the little creeps stole all my stuff. Stupid me, thinking it'd be nice and safe, packed up on the north side of the airstrip. Why don't you do me a favor and head down there? There's a cash reward if you bring my stuff back. Actually, we're not going to do that quest, because we're going to do that quest on the Horde, where it's more relevant story-wise. Farewell forever, Reach. So, I've already actually talked about this, so unfortunately I don't have much else to add. I really wish that I'd stop being baited into talking about things ahead of time. But in summary, to rehash, I guess, now that it's relevant. So, the Curse of Flesh is actually a magical curse that the old gods invented in order to, and I quote, facilitate assimilation. Oh, I should probably hit him with that. There we go. Now, hang on just a second. Let's see if this works. Alright, so we're going to hit him with the decursor, or the recursor. Holy crap, he's a gnome again! There we go. Okay. So we can recurse them. Excellent. Gnomish ingenuity. The Curse of Flesh is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It just acts a little bit more severely and in a lot quicker period of time than, you know, thousands of years. It's not some evolutionary alteration to natural selection or anything like that. It literally converts something into a flesh version of themselves. I haven't really had a chance to recover, Deutsch. What can I say? So, there is one other little tidbit to be kept in mind here. When these gnomes are converted back into mecha gnomes, they retain their memories. They still know who they are and who their friends are and all that kind of thing. But they kind of lose their free will. This kind of brings back to that point we were talking about when it comes to the Iron Dwarves, actually. It is my personal impression that the vast majority of Titan creations are automatically built without free will. Now, you might be thinking, oh, that's horrifying. Well, there's a lot of evidence to see in favor of that. They have intelligence. They have the ability to think for themselves, but they don't have the ability to choose for themselves. You follow the difference? And as a consequence, it kind of helps make a few things make sense. Especially the fact that so again, to use an example, all of these gnomes, once they are turned into mechagnomes, they're like, yes, join us, it's an amazing thing. However, once you cure them back to flesh and blood, they're grateful for it. It also, I was actually going to bring that up too, Raskor. It also kind of begs the question, do the Titans have free will? Do the Titans have the ability to really function for themselves? Yes, I know, Meadfist. Like I said, we're kind of rehashing it here because we already talked about all this. It's also worth noting that by even if the Titans have freedom of will, by the mindset that they have, yes, they do, Deutsch. By the mindset that the Titans have, freedom of will is chaotic. Because it is. The moment you give a race of people the ability to choose for themselves, you have introduced an infinite variable. Something that cannot be properly taken care of. Because there's just so many different possible things that all the different people can do. How many times have we seen major events changed that affect huge political and war and military and otherwise situations because one person did something? I mean, I could name the obvious big names, but I mean, for God's sakes, think about what Varamothras did to the entire Northrend campaign with his one actions. You know what I mean? So freedom of will is fairly chaotic, and I think most people would probably agree with that general concept. So for me, it makes very, very sense, a very large amount of sense that, oh, they're bombing. That, I need one more. That the Titans are actively against freedom of will. Not in an evil way, not in a we want slaves way, in a we want order way. Because remember, that's really what the Titans are about. They want order. And that's it, really. I'd make a B5 reference, but I don't want to spoil things. Now, some of these gnomes insist that Mechazod is insane, but I don't actually agree. Nothing Mechazod does indicates insanity. It just indicates to me that he is he genuinely believes in what he's saying, and with good reason. To him, flesh is a defect. To him, having this organic body and having freedom of will is a flaw that needs to be corrected. Forgive me for quoting Fallout here, but self-determination is not a defect, you know? Or rather, by his perspective, self-determination is a defect. Yes, Deutsch.
Pleased to meet you.
Hey, I got your screwdriver. Hey. The ultrasonic screwdriver is the ultimate tool. It can do anything to mechanical stuff. Head back into the pools and dismantle a bunch of robots. Then all you have to do is use the screwdriver, and I'm betting they'll turn to our side. For a short period of time, anyways. I'm pretty sure it won't work on the mechanome, so don't even bother.
Off and away. Very good.
You
Interesting.
did it! It worked! I can't believe you were able to save so many. Oh, we're fortunate to have you around. Okay. I like the name of this quest. Lefty Loosey Righty Tighty. Okay, I think we're ready for the penultimate assault. Before you can bring down Mechazod, you're going to have to dismantle his lieutenants first. You'll find Twonky, ED210, and Max Blasto. Oh, and the Grinder at these locations. To get them to show up, just turn the valves. Mess up whatever they're doing.
Be seeing you.
Okay.
Honored, I'm sure.
Here's your spare parts. That's great. Now if I can only figure out how to fix this thing. You've proven you're a hero. My boss, Tinky, went east with Bixie Wrench Shanker, and I can't get the outgoing thing working. Tinky's the only one who can fix it. We really need with this thing working 100%. Think you could find them? Bixie said something about following some old magnetar to a place called Dens of the Dying. Okay,
Very
we can
well,
check
then.
that out.
Interesting.
Oh my god, they have a pilot called Tailspin. Oh my god. I should have flown the mission myself. It's not that I don't trust Tailspin, far from it. Heck, he was the best wingman I ever flew with. It's just that it's my responsibility to lead a mission of such import. I sent Tailspin out with the fastest recon squadron to gather information about the Nerubian infestation. Last report we received is that I'm not actually doing that quest.
Off and away.
We'll be doing that on the Horde. Wait, no we won't. We'll be doing that quest here. I'm bad. I'm wrong. For the Horde. Or I could get knocked off the elevator and crushed to death by a pneumatic elevator. That's what I really wanted to have happen.
Can I help you? Daylight's burning.
Thanks, Danilul. I will take that as a compliment. Alright, let's go after these gnomes, shall we? And by gnomes, I mean everything that isn't a gnome.
Reporting for duty, sir.
Launchpad McQuack is awesome, I'd just like to say. I don't even know why I'm looting these guys. I should stop looting. Also, I like how extensive these oil fields are. Just kind of goes to show how much oil they were probably using for this offensive. At least one group came to Northrend and was willing to fight properly. And by one, I mean like 4, actually. Or 5, excuse me, 5 groups. The Alliance proper is like, you know what? Why don't we just send whoever? I mean, it's all good, really. Come, my mechanical army. Come, and we will crush the organic scum. Also, I will say this for the gnomes. Unlike the goblins, they usually don't pollute the hell out of the places they mine for oil in. Oh god, it's Twonky! Oh god, okay, it's okay, it's okay. We got him. Yeah, I know, the gnomes actually did successfully build the airstrip, as opposed to everyone else. If it wasn't for the presence of Mechazod, they would have had a flawless victory up here, basically. It's one of those weird situations. You find yourself wondering, what could the goblins and the gnomes accomplish if they worked together? Not that they would, and I totally get why they wouldn't, but just think about the technology that we could invent. These people could be at Star Trek level. Well, okay, that's probably an exaggeration. Star Trek is actually very, very, very advanced technologically when you think about it. Hey, Last Echo. Everyone in chat, I want you to go kill Last Echo really quick. And then convert him to one of the mechanical creatures. Free him from the curse of flesh. Yeah, Blackfuse constructed a lot of incredibly powerful technology. That man was crazy good. Oh my god, it's Max Blasto, Herald of Mechazod. Oh, it's dead, it's dead. We're okay. And yet that's so appropriate, isn't it, Ricky? Isn't it logical that of all that the gnomes could be kept at bay not by someone who is incredibly powerful or has tremendous magic or anything else like that at his disposal? No. The gnomes were held at bay by another gnome who had technological prowess on his side. Something about that is just very appropriate to me. Well, if we make you mechanical, you'll lose all free will, though, Last Echo. Yeah, exactly, Raskor. They didn't lose Gnomergon to the Trogs. They lost Gnomergon to Mechatork, or whichever one he is. Or Mecha... Shoot, what's his name? hang on. What is his name? Thermoplug! They lost Gnomergon to Thermoplug. And Reach. They lost him to Reach, too. If it wasn't for Reach's influence, they might have kept hold of their city. Your meddling is at an end. Mechazod will relieve you of your curse once I am done with you. Not likely. I must forever... So, okay, genuine question for just a second. How many of you people, if you had the power... If you existed in Warcraft, it doesn't matter which race, just like pick one of the playable races, and you exist in Warcraft, and you were given an option to willingly, lose your curse of flesh, would you choose to? Keeping in mind that in the setting of Warcraft, freedom of will is a very real thing, then losing it has very immediate and apparent consequences.
My, you're a tall one.
So from that point on, you would literally just be a servitor race to the Titan machinations. Oh, you got brought back the screwdriver too. Reprogramming those robots. I can't do a gnome voice right now. My voice hurts too much. Reprogramming those robots is going to turn out to be a huge advantage in our favor in the fight against Gearmaster Mechazod.
Very well then. Off and away.
A mechanical Tauren. That actually sounds kind of cool. Let's be honest. Being an organic creature has reproduction in general as a thing. Would it protect you from the Scourge? That's a good question. We don't know is probably the best answer. Oh, I definitely can't do that voice right now, Reach. Not with my throat. I could say that for like 5 minutes and then I'd have to stop streaming for the day because my throat would hurt so bad. See, it's a weird situation because we know that individuals who are mechanical, original Titan creations can be manipulated and influenced by the old gods, regardless of not having flesh. But that's because of the magical influence of the old gods. But the Scourge have quite a bit of magical influence as well, so... I don't know. By the way, my answer would also be no. Hell no. I do not feel like spending the rest of my life in meaningless servitude. I'd rather die. Gearmaster Mechazod is insane! He says he can offer us immortality by removing the curse of flesh, but what he's really making are robotic slaves! We're certainly still in the pumping station. Go! Confront him! Kill him! For the sake of all gnome kind. Guys, we are about to save all gnomes everywhere. Now, one little fun factoid here. We don't know 100% if this is true, but you see this massive crashed necropoli over here? The only theory I've ever heard, which actually has some evidence against it, as to what caused this necropoli to crash, is that Mechazod took it out. That he actually managed to hit it hard enough to knock it out of the sky. The big evidence against that is the fact that Mechazod is fairly recent. Like, they didn't dig him up through the well until quite recently. And yet, this thing... I mean, I guess the timelines could line up, but remember, we heard about this thing going down all the way back in the Death Knight starter zone. So... I don't know. What the hell, Azura? Oh my god. I'd smack the crap out of that person. As an aside, by the way, while I absolutely agree that the Scourge are definitely geared towards flesh corruption or flesh undeading or whatever, it's an interesting thought to think that if they had an entire division of the Scourge who are researching how to undead artificial creatures, it's curious if they could have done so at all. Remember, the Scourge can undead a Worgen. Now, granted, that's of flesh, but it's basically a magical creature at that point that they could still bring back as dead. Again, this is also the kind of thing you can do with regards to, say, dragons, another fairly powerful magical creature. My point is, under the right circumstances, I could see the Scourge having, researching and working on trying to spread their control over artificial creatures and eventually gaining the ability to do so, assuming they were allowed to continue that research uninterrupted. Short term, you'd totally be frickin' invulnerable. Huh. Where is he? Where's Mechazod? Where is he? Oh, shoot, there he is! You were looking for me, child? Why do you come to kill me? I only wish to help. Now that I have been reassembled, we can return to a time of perfection. The time of the Titans. But I see it in your eyes, hear it in your pulse rate. You would destroy me despite my offer of immortality. Very well. It saddens me that it has come to this. I look upon all of you as if you were my children. I will slay you, if I must. Well, no, I'm way stronger than you, Mechazod. By the way, I'm going to recite my no politics, no controversial topics rule real quick. There's a reason that rule exists. Moving on. Although I will add one quick thing before we shut off that topic, and that's the fact that I was actually accused of idolizing, literally, worshipping video games somewhat recently, which...
Hey!
Alright, what do we got? Oh, it is done then. You saved us. If you hadn't stopped him here, who knows how far his madness would have spread. With the threats from the Blue Dragon and the Nexus War, not to mention the Lich King. Last thing we need is a mad creation of the Titans loose. Only thing that would be worse than that is if there was an old god walking around right now. Thank God we don't have one of those happening. Let's go see Tailspin, shall we? Yeah, it was pretty funny, Reach. It was like a 2-page essay, clearly written by. It wasn't a form letter. It was someone written just for me. And what the heck, Tailspin should totally be like a druid who happens to have bear form or something.
Good day to you.
We'll probably talk most about the Breakers. When's a good time to talk about that? See, I was kind of hoping to talk about that in Highmaul, because that's when it comes up the most. But that is way further into the game. That's almost one of the last things we'll be doing, actually. Anyways, there's a bright flash on the ground, and next thing I know, the squadron's going down. I'm hurt pretty badly, so I haven't had a chance to comb the site for other survivors. But something tells me there won't be many. Will you help me complete my mission?
Alrighty then. Greetings.
The wolves have been pawing through the wreckage ever since the crash, and I'm afraid they consumed the microfilm from our mission in the progress. I have a plan to recover it, but I need your help to make it work. To the south and east are creatures called gorlocks. They prepare their food with noxious spices, which would sicken any other creature. If we gather enough of it, I can make the wolf bait.
Very good.
The reason people dislike Cataclysm is because they're stupid. No, I'm kidding. There are legitimate things to dislike about Cataclysm. Most of the complaining I heard about Cataclysm was stupid. Namely, there's now new content that was added to Cataclysm. Fnarf, fnarf. And that was pretty much the biggest complaint I heard about, repeated 100 million times a minute. The reason people say that is because they spent a hellacious amount of time rehashing and redoing all of the old world in order to update it for the new storyline, new content, new quest philosophy, and doing some wonderful, incredible, and great stuff with it. But of course, and in the interest of fairness, that isn't something that people who don't level care about, or don't who care about the stories care about. So for the people who didn't care about that, there was relatively little content. And God almighty, I hear about that complaint constantly, just endlessly. And I'm being invited to lunch. So, yeah. It was I'd probably get more pissed off about it than some people would because of two reasons. Number one, I really like what they did to the new world. Changing the old world into the new world, revamping all the quests, it just revitalized so much of the story, the quests, and the plot, and it was fun. It was actually fun leveling from 1 to 60 again, as opposed to making me want to tear out my teeth and jab them into my eyes because I was so sick of leveling an old world. And so it was fun and interesting and engaging, and I loved it. And then everyone was like, it's stupid and terrible and we hate it. So, of course, I get a little defensive about that. But the other side of things is, of course, it means that Blizzard will probably never actually do that again. Ever. They will never go back and redo any old content ever again. Because people complained the one time they did it. If I could use a parallel for a moment. Once upon a time, there was a game called The Legend of Zelda. It was wildly popular. After Legend of Zelda, they made another game called Legend of Zelda 2, The Adventures of Link. It bombed. It absolutely bombed. And the big reason why is because it tried something different that may or may not have worked. I'm not even gonna lay judgment on whether or not it was a good game or not. That's not the point. The point is, it bombed. And as a result of that, they have never tried anything new with the Zelda franchise as far as trying out, RPGs or side-scrollers or any other new genres ever since. Because they listened to the people. So that's something we will never get a chance to get again. Because the one attempt they made failed. And I find that to be discouraging. Yes, Dakota. Absolutely. Yeah, I would love to play a Zelda RPG. Really. Give me a Zelda RPG in the style of a Mario RPG, and hells yes, I will buy the crap out of that. Yeah, Raskor, that is pretty much the exact same problem there. Do I have any more then and nows lined up? Yeah, I could answer that question. Or I could stab myself. Yes, Reach. That's literally what's happening here. They ate the microfilm, see? Kata was also very discouraging for a lot of people on Blizzard's side. I've read some interviews of them. Because apparently they really put a lot of heart and effort into Cataclysm. And it's just almost universally hated. And so that was one of the big motivators for several people leaving Blizzard, for good or for bad. Damn it, Redix. I don't even know why that's happening. This isn't even the first time I've done this, Raskor, if you're paying attention. Anyways, I'm getting kind of off topic. A lot of people complain about LFR too. And LFR is, of course, the thing that was introduced in Dragon Soul and was pretty poorly implemented in Dragon Soul. I've given my thoughts on LFR already. I don't actually really feel the need to rehash that. I will just say that LFR does not bother me as much as it does other people.
Hi, how are you?
He holds his nose as he accepts the microfilm for you. Well, we've complied with Section 8.2, Paragraph B of the Emergency Protocol here and regathered the film. Nothing in the protocol says I'm responsible for cleaning it, though. Injured or not, as Squadron Commander, I'm responsible for locating and returning the insignia of the fallen pilots under my command.
Very well, then.
Will you do it for me? Okay, fine. Oh, I never answered your question, did I, Little Blue? Yes, we do have another Then and Now lined up. We have two Then and Nows lined up. First one is going to be about a game called Destiny. It's a brand new game. It's an MMO. It's the best MMO ever made. The other one is going to be about Star Wars Battlefront. Not the original one, the new one, which is also the best game ever made. There will be lots and lots of ads, but you can't see the whole video until you pay about $50 total for the various bits and pieces. Like, you have to pay another 20 cents. Each 20 cents buys you another second of footage. And it's not like the next second, it's actually a random pack of seconds. So you spend like $10 and you get like however many, I guess that'd be like 20 seconds total of footage. And that random footage will be like this bit and this bit and this bit. So you'll watch the whole thing, but there will be just this sputter in and out thing. So if you get lucky and you spend tons and tons of money, you'll get to go get the entire video. So I hope you guys enjoy. We spent a lot of work on it. Oh, and there will be hats. Yes. Every time you open a pack with seconds, there will be a 1 in 1,000 chance you'll get a hat, which you can wear in your imagination.
Honored, I'm sure.
There's only one more thing left to do before I can finally return and make my report. Section 8.2, Paragraph D. Scuttle the wreckage in order to prevent our technology from falling into enemy hands.
Alrighty, then.
Everyone loves hats. What are you talking about? Also, every Then and Now henceforth will actually be the exact same Then and Nows we've already released. But each time a new one is released, and by which I mean a rehash is released, there will be a 1 in 50 chance that it will come with a new hat. EA... Well, no, EA is clearly the worst publisher ever. My new bosses over at Konami, they have shown me the true way, the true light in publishing excellence.
Good day to you.
Alright. Would you be willing to head back to the airstrip and let Fizzcrank know I'll be along shortly? I've got to deal with the wreckage of my flying machine. I'm certain he'll thank you for your effort. Only wonder what the old man would have done if he himself had been flying with us. I miss those days.
Off and away.
So, one tiny little lore tidbit about this quests chain that we've been helping this gnome out. He and his squadron were crash-landed because of this massive flash of light, which caused a huge explosion across the area. Yes, it's the same thing that caused the necropoli to fall. So whatever it is that knocked that necropoli out of the sky, it knocked them out of the sky too. Just food for thought. Again, we don't know exactly what did it. God, the mini elevator's terrible.
Salutations!
I should have gone with them. I might have been able to complete the mission without losing any pilots. Tailspin's right, though. We have you to thank for what we have managed to be. Your efforts may just make the difference in the fight against the Nerubians. Hey, if I ever sold out, guys, I'd probably tell you before I did it.
Hi, how are you?
Fizzcrank sent out an aerial surveillance team to map out the Nerubian sinkholes. But they haven't returned yet. I can't afford to wait any longer, so I'm going to need someone to check out the information on foot. I understand the dangers involved, and I'll compensate accordingly. Take this map, and we'll record the vital information.
Be seeing you.
Okay, I can do that. Like I said, Raskor, we don't actually know. It's never actually been stated. Something big happened to knock that thing out of the sky. You don't just knock Necropoli out of the sky left and right. The Drakari managed it with the power of the Loa, like all of their Loa empowering them. And that's it. That's pretty much the only other example of that. And yeah, it is entirely possible, though, that there are other Titans in the region. This is kind of neat, by the way. It's a cute little thing. As you can see, they're actually carrying little food and whatever else around. Because, you know, workers. For exactly 1 second, yes, Redix. That's how much $20 will buy you. 20 seconds. Or 1 second, rather. Maybe 20 seconds. I'm feeling generous. So the Nerubians have a massive empire across Northrend. For those of you not aware of this fact, they weren't just burrowing up as kind of a, oh, they're bugs thing. No, basically, the whole of this entire continent has an empire inside of it. And that empire is the empire of the Nerubians. And, yeah, that's, I don't know what else to add to that. It's, kind of scary when you think about it, that their reach extends all the way out here, and at the very most all the way up here. So we know for a bare minimum they're up here, they're through this area like this. And given a few things, we're pretty sure they're over here too. Now, it is worth noting that they aren't fully in charge of that. And by they, I really should clarify, because there's actually two distinct factions of the Nerubians. The Nerubians and the Scourge Nerubians. So there's actually two whole different groups, and they're actually still fighting even now amongst each other, with the actual Nerubians losing to the Scourge Nerubians. So how much of that is actually at their disposal at any given point in time is debatable. Although the Lich King himself certainly has some thoughts to share on that, doesn't he? Let's empty our inventory a little bit. Why do I still have human ears? Get out of my inventory. I like the idea of me just flinging these ears at the foot of this gnome, and the gnome just sees me take out human ears out of my bags, throw them on the ground, and he's like, nope, not gonna ask, not gonna bring it up. Nope, don't want to make an issue. Just let him ignore me. God, please let him ignore me.
Right.
Actually, we do end up helping the living Nerubians, Prog, and it's awesome. It's one of the reasons I actually like the Nerubians overall. They're quite personable, which is just kind of weird when you think about it. They have no problem interacting with and coordinating with other people if it comes down to it. I really want playable Nerubians. What do you want from me? Anyways.
My, you're a tall one.
Great, this is the information we need to begin the operation. I'm going to build a machine that will collapse the tunnels that the Scourge is using to deploy the Nerubians. With the main drilling rig out of order, we'll have to collect the fuel for the device some other way. Out in the geyser fields to the southeast, small pools of oil bubble up through the main rig. If you can collect enough of the oil, I can make enough crude fuel to power the machine.
Alrighty then.
See if we can find some oil. Aha! Oil! Oil! Ah! 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 Ah, okay. We're out. We're out. Are you sure about that, Raskor? Because that does not sound like the truth to me. The original plague that was originally developed didn't work on the Nerubians at all, and so they had to come up with an entirely new method of raising them as undead. Once they did, that's when the War of the Spider finally turned in favor of the Scourge. Otherwise, the Nerubians would have won. And that would have been the end of the Scourge. Wait, what are those? Those are birds. Okay, I take it back. The gnomes are polluting as well. I would love... Oh, okay, I was going to say Raskar. I was like, there are undead Nerubians. At least now there are, I should say. It keeps... Yeah, there we go. It's hard to get out of those things. I would really like to see some Nerubians who are like, you know what, we're kind of tired of the whole let's serve the old gods who want to kill all life thing. You know what I mean? Well, I was talking about it in relation to how, you know, the goblins are so much worse. And they are. I mean, the goblins are way worse in their operations. Pandaria. Oh, excuse me. But, yeah. You know what I like most about that defense mechanism in Nomergon? It existed to begin with. They had an option to basically nuke their own city. Also, that sucks, Nicolas. Lo siento.
Pleased to meet you.
Aha! Distilling this by hand is going to be messy, but I'll have it taken care of soon. In the meantime, we need one more material. I've configured the skeleton of an old bot to create an earthquake large enough to collapse the tunnels, but it's delicate and sensitive to Northrend's biting cold. I need insulation.
Off and away.
The only thing you need to know about gnomes is that they are freaking awesome. So let's kill some calves, shall we? I think that's a good thing to do. I mean, if there's one thing that we've learned from Hemet Nessingwary, and it was totally Hemet Nessingwary, is that we should kill all the animals, especially the calves, and then loot their corpses, and then try to get kitchenware as a result of looting their corpses. I don't know about you guys, but I think that's just the proper path. Oh, and constantly get covered in massive amounts of animal blood. That's very important. Animal blood. Oh, sorry. I just love that animal blood so much. Die. Everything. Do I have... Yes, I do. Die. Everything dies. Anyways, so like I said about 10 minutes ago, I am going to go ahead and head out to lunch for our lunch break for the day. Ah, good. We finished the quest, too. And then we'll come back, finish up a few wrap-up quests here. We've still got to finish taking care of these Nerubian invasion tunnels. We have to go see what the heck is up with that necropoli over there. And then we're going to have to do the best quest chain in the history of the universe. I'll give you a hint. Anyways, see you in a bit, guys.